Okay, I think we are live. And let me get that background music going. Hello, everyone. Just give me a few minutes to set things up. But as I do, I just want to confirm what we're going to talk about today. A day or so ago, I released a video which was under 2 minutes, and it had to deal with using an old Wacom Intuos 2, which came out in like 2001. So it's 25 years old with a modern Android device, a Samsung Galaxy Tab S8 Ultra. And I got a lot of good questions. And because that was just a very quick video, I wasn't intending to really explore the topic very deeply. But I had such great questions that people had about how this was configured, why it worked. I decided it was time maybe just to do a longer stream so we can talk about it and get more questions answered. And that's what's happening today. So we'll cover more about drawing tablets and Android. And there is actually quite a bit to cover. And we'll talk also about some news and updates. We might start with the news and updates. And then also, of course, we'll do the standard Q&A. So just give me a few minutes. I'm going to go get things set up here. And in fact, the very first thing I need to do is get my earbuds in. So just give me one moment and I'll be right. Okay, I'm back with my earbuds. And, this was a rather spontaneous stream, so I decided to be a little more whimsical today and wear a white jacket with my pink shirt. It's a little bit unusual for me, but I thought, let's liven it up a little bit. Okay, let me tell my Discord crew that I'm online, so give me a moment as I reveal to them that I'm available. Streaming now. And Nick, I see you're in chat, so good to see you. Yeah, the Discord, my Discord friends have trained me well to make sure that I tell them when I have a stream going. Oh, sorry, scratched my eyes a little bit. Anyway, yeah, sorry, it's getting a little more scratchy. Okay, so let me get my drink of water and then we'll begin. So probably the first thing I want to do is just replay the video. That way everyone knows the context that we are talking about. So let me find that and we will replay it. Give me one moment as I get set up here. As I mention all the time, I have a multiple computer setup, so showing different things with several different laptops can get a little just actually confusing for my own brain. So because I have to unplug and set things up. So let's get this set up. Once you see the video, it'll be just, again, a great context to talk about the rest. I know some of you saw it already, but for those of you who are going to see the video on demand, it'll be good to get a shared understanding. And let me know if the audio is working well for everyone. If you hear any weird things or it's not loud enough or the music's too loud, just let me know. And let me get back to my audio. Actually, in the earbuds is connected, so I have to reconnect them. Connect. There we go. I think I got a little confused when I started this computer up. Let's see. Log in. Okay, and let's see if the demo part actually works correctly. Yeah, you're actually seeing it. Okay, so you're taking a look at my YouTube channel. And so let's just take a look at yesterday's video. Again, just a level set. This was it. This was it. Wacom Intuos 2 Plus Android.
I have a large collection of drawing tablets, and occasionally I like using the older tablets with modern
Oh, you can't hear
computers.
the video, so give me
I
1
have
second
here
as I
an
straighten out
Intuos 2
the.
drawing tablet. Wacom released it almost 25 years
Oh, you do hear
ago.
it. Let me restart
Wacom
it,
drivers have long ago dropped support for
and
these
I'll
tablets.
stop the music.
So using
My
these tablets
apologies.
with Windows or Mac OS these days
I still am
requires
adjusting to
using
how
Open
things
Tablet
actually work.
Driver. However, this week
Okay, here we go.
I have a large collection of drawing tablets, and occasionally I like using the older tablets with modern computers. I have here an Intuos 2 drawing tablet. Wacom released it almost 25 years ago, but Wacom drivers have long ago dropped support for these tablets. So using these tablets with Windows or Mac OS these days requires using Open Tablet Driver. However, this week I got a fantastic suggestion from tablet enthusiast Tablet Kitten, who suggested trying this old Wacom tablet with a modern Android device. I love these kinds of experiments. Here's the setup. On the bottom is the Wacom Intuos 2. On top, the Samsung Galaxy Tab S8 Ultra. This Thunderbolt 4 cable is connected to a dock that's off on the side. This cable on the Wacom is connected to that very same dock. And the application I'm using is Infinite Painter, though any Android drawing app will work. And here's the Wacom pen, and now let's begin drawing. The pen is responsive. The pressure works. You know, this is remarkable. This tablet is almost 25 years old, but it works perfectly with a recent Android device. This goes to show you how much planning, effort, and good design went into Linux and then into Android to maintain out-of-the-box compatibility with these older Wacom drawing tablets. Thanks for your time, and I hope you enjoyed this video.
Okay, okay. I
Why
think
does my
everyone
line
heard
art
that.
always look worse in the
Oops,
sketch? What can I do to make it look better?
Turn off
I struggled with
autoplay.
line art for the
Okay, so I think everyone got that. Let's now get back into the normal thing. So there's a lot going on there. And one of the things that went on is you couldn't see everything that was set up. And what we're going to do is just answer some of these questions. Now, before I do, again, I talked about the way I'm dressed today. I actually got a great comment in the Discord that says, you look like a you look like a tablet god communicating with us mortals from tablet heaven. I love that. Thank you, Hayden. And then the comment is that because they see me in the corner wearing the white, reacting to me yesterday wearing the gray. It says it's white pens reacts to gray pens. I love it. I love it. So yeah, that had so many questions people had because of that video. And again, I wasn't trying to, I didn't mean to like overstate the case or, hide information. So we'll talk about all those questions. Oh, and Cami Luna has joined us. Hello, Cami Luna. Glad to see you. Always happy when she joins our streams. And we just got started, Cami Luna. So as it always goes with these streams, we have a lot to go through, trust me. Okay, so let me get to the Q&A for that. And I just want to show you the comments that came up and we'll talk about them. So give me a minute. Let's see. YouTube Studio. Cube has reacted. 7pence reacts to Evil Twin. Well, the Evil Twin has to have a goatee, right? That's how you know they're evil. Why can't I click on this? Okay. Here we go. Because I want to show you the comments I actually got. And there we go. Okay. And let me bring it up now. Let me see if I can full screen this. And let me get this keyboard out of the way so I'm not accidentally pressing it. Okay, so here are some of the comments. Let's see, you should be able to see it now. Okay, so, is that right? Yeah. You know what? I think I need to zoom this in a little bit. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to see the comments. There we go. So I'll start sort of bottom up, since that's how they came into me. So, yeah, someone found it fascinating, always happened. And this was the first big question, which was from actually Nick Tyler, who's in the chat. And it's about how does it work, right? So we'll talk about that right now. Let me make sure my chat is visible to myself. Anything else? Cami Luna just got to work. Perfect timing, she says. It is indeed perfect timing. I love it when Cami Luna can join our streams. Okay, and so the comment is, hey, how on earth does it work? You use some kind of dock with USB and Thunderbolt interfaces. What about drivers? Android tablet just picks it up with some unknown USB pointer and it works with pressure. Even modern Air Intuos Pros cannot be connected to, let's see, gotta read more, to USB to Android devices. And then he asks, why in the video why does the cursor look super laggy? So there's a ton of questions buried into the middle of this. So we'll address each one. Let me take a quick peek at the Discord. I see a few comments coming in. Harry says, I plugged in Intuos 24 into my Pixel 8, and now it has forced proportions enabled instead of stretching the aspect ratio. So let me just reply there, so things are working correctly. Oops, I'm typing in the wrong place. So common. You know, I am working on simplifying my dual PC setup here. You know, you're getting this video from one computer, and I'm plugging another computer sort of into it, which is how you're seeing this this Chrome browser here. And I'm actually going to switch, or I'm going to add a new technique. I'm going to somewhere nearby keep a mini PC around, and I'm going to enable remote desktop. And I'm going to try to remote desktop from the streaming PC to it, since it's a clean Windows environment. It won't be suitable for, you know, playing a video. It'll be very sluggish. But for things where I'm showing a web page and we're just looking at text or I'm writing a document, it should be a lot easier for me to work with, since I'll only have to deal with one keyboard. Okay, so let's start with some basics, which is, he mentions I use some kind of dock. And indeed, I do have a dock. So let me just make sure everyone's clear on the setup. And before I get into the setup, you need to understand one thing. This setup was done simply to make it easy for me to record the screen, okay? This setup is not required, meaning the dock. Okay. Contest said, hello, do we call you 7? Yes, you can call me 7. Uh, so let me get, what is that app called? Concepts, yeah. Let's get Concepts. We used it last time. And let me just make sure everyone's on the same page about it. Okay, and let's get a new, I guess, a new one titled Plus here. There we go. Okay, and I'm actually going to use the Surface Pen. Can you believe it? It is not a pen I enjoy. Okay, and let me just scoot this down a little bit so it's easier for me to draw. 7 of 9. 7 of 9. Oh man. Who can forget 7 of 9? Who can forget 7 of 9? Who was the actress? I forget. She who played 7 of 9. That was on the Star Trek Discovery, right? If I recall correctly. I thought it was a very interesting character, by the way. But I actually like T'Pol in Star Trek Enterprise, played by Jolene Blalock, who's, actually had surprisingly, I thought, wider range as an actress than you would have guessed. Kanto says, then 7 it is. I'm used to having a name because of Twitch. Sorry. No, it's all good. It's all good. 7. I didn't intend for 7. So I named the channel the 7 Pens because everyone, I think by now knows, when I started, I had 7 drawing tablet pens, 7 EMR pens. Now I have 90 something. And somehow it never occurred to me that people would start calling me 7 Pens or 7. People even abbreviate me as 7 or 7P. And so I'm actually getting into it. So I'm actually, people calling me 7. Conversationally, even when we're in a live stream or in a Discord call. So I'm getting used to this new name. Okay, but I wanted to show you how I was actually connecting. Okay, so this, am I drawing here? Why is it not drawing? Nothing's drawing here. There we go. Okay, so this is the Sam. I'm gonna put Sam for Samsung, okay? And of course my face is covering it. Wouldn't that just be exactly how it works? Okay, let me move my face down here. Okay, so that's the Samsung. And then over here, I had a CalDigit TS4 dock, okay? And what was connecting here to here was a Thunderbolt 4 cable. Why Thunderbolt 4? Because I needed something that carried video and data, and also this Thunderbolt 4 cable was carrying power, so I wouldn't run out of battery with the Samsung tablet. This was the S8 Ultra, okay? And then I had the Intuos 2 here, okay? Now the Intuos 2 has the models are kind of paired. Let's say I was using the 6x8 size, and some of them have a USB cable, and some of them have a serial cable. So this one came with a USB cable, which made this easy. So the cable is attached, and it's just a USB-A end here. So USB-A here, and this was, of course, a USB-C port here, a Thunderbolt port. So that's how these were connected. To make this work, I did not need to use the dock. It just made it easy for me because I didn't have to get a USB-C to USB-A to USB-C adapter. I could power the power the Samsung. That's how it fundamentally worked. I can, and I did try directly connecting the Samsung to the Intuos 2, and it worked. It worked. Now the other reason, oops, we have some few comments here. 7P is cool. Actually, by the way, I'm thinking about getting rid of the 7 Pens for my channel name. I don't know why I put the, I just thought it was cool. I think I'll just change it to 7 pens. It feels weird to be referring to what I do as the 7 pens. Let's see, Nick says, I've heard that XP Pen Deco Pro tablets are connecting with Android natively, but tilt and shortcuts are not supported, if I'm not mistaken. Nick, we can try it out. I've got tablets. We can test it out, okay? So let's see. And I have not tested it yet, so we'll do it. Konto says, the YouTube video made me wonder if this would work on an iPad. And is that how you found me, Konto? Okay, interesting. Well, I'm glad that's how you discovered me. Cami Luna, shortcuts are not supported in Android with any tablet as far as I know. Cami Luna, I think you are correct. I don't know of any situation in which shortcuts, and I think to be specific, what you mean by that is buttons on the tablet are supported. Flabbergasted, this works out in 202. Been trying to do this exact thing with Windows Pro 2013 for ages, and it never did. And Bertie, we're going to talk about why there may have been difficulties, okay? Before we continue, let me tell you, I tried it even on the Intuos One last night. It worked, okay? But there are reasons why in some situations, some combinations it won't work. And we'll go into all those details. And we'll try some of these combinations. Nick says 2013, 2018. We'll try it. Because let's exhaust our knowledge here. So Bertie, we may be able to get it to work, but there may be some other issues about Android itself. So we'll see. Okay, so this was the setup I actually showed you in the video. You just didn't see on camera the dock. Okay. Now, I mentioned I use this dock. I kind of had to use the dock, and let me tell you why. I originally wanted to use my overhead camera, and I'm just going to turn it on for a second so you see the overhead camera, okay? Just so you see it, okay. But the overhead camera, you can just barely see screens here because it's just not geared up for this. The lighting can seem a little weird, so that's why I didn't end up using the overhead camera, and instead I used a view more like this. Can you see it? Yeah. Where you can see me doing something, and then you see what's happening on the screen. Okay, so for example, I'm writing here. You might have trouble seeing me. I'm writing. We can see my hand moving, but you see the actual stroke there. So that's why I needed the dock. And let me just explain to you what the dock was doing. So this dock has a mini DisplayPort connector here. Oops. And I used an adapter to make it HDMI. That HDMI then went to an Elgato, like an HDMI capture card, okay? And that took that HDMI and sent it through USB-C, okay? Back to USB-C, back to my streaming computer, which is a Mac. Okay, and this made it seem like this HDMI pretended to monitor, but I'm capturing that video as if it's a webcam on my Mac, and that's what you saw recorded. Okay, that's why I had to use the dock for that video. Didn't need to use the dock. Didn't use any of this stuff. I could have just directly connected these two. Okay, now this is significant. I'm not going into this detail just because it's detail. This is actually going to answer one of Nick's questions, his last question. Okay, let us see some of these other comments. Cami Luna, yes, and 2OS did come out before Androids were invented. That was a 1998 tablet. 1998. And just to be specific for Cami Luna, let's find out when Android tablets were invented, right? Or first Android tablet. So this says, this is the AI overview. I hope it's correct. First Android tablet was a Toshiba Libretto W100, released August 2010. So in 2OS 1998, Now, this tablet almost certainly would not have worked with the Intuos One. It's only these later tablets, and we'll talk exactly about which Android versions will work, okay? But yeah, these older ones would not have worked. But to answer Kim England's specific question, Intuos One came out well before Android even existed. In fact, it didn't come out, I think, before Linux existed, but it's earlier than Android for sure. Okay, let's get back to concepts here. Okay, so this is my setup last night, and you understand now why I had to do that. And again, I tested Intuos One last night as well after I made that video. Burmick says, I love your videos. Android works with old Cintiqs. I haven't fully tested that out, Burmix, but what we'll do in this stream is we'll try a MoveInk, and the problem with the Cintiqs is I just don't have, how to connect them gets a little complicated. So I will at least try the MoveInk today, right? And later on I will try an old Cintiq. Now Nick does say that Cintiqs are not supported by Android. Even with PCs, there are lots of problems, connections, and drivers. We're going to explore how Android works with pen displays. I will talk about that and show that to you today. Hanem says, wild that the Pro line doesn't work. I verified even with the cheapest one by Wacom. Well, we're going to get to that. And by the way, I think it does work. Okay, we'll show you. We'll show you. Nick asks, are any of those XP Pen Huyans work with Android wireless? I think so. In fact, I think my Huion Fuego, I couldn't get it to work wired. It only worked with wireless. But again, as we're going to discover, Android compatibility with drawing tablets is very specific on the specific tablet or Android version and the specific tablet you're using. Right? Do I have any of the XP Pen Deco Pro? Yeah, I have Gen 2. I have a couple of Gen 2 tablets. So Nick will try them in the stream. Okay. Okay. So that was the setup. Now let's go back to one of Nick's questions, wherever it is. And so now, Nick, I think we answered. You understand which dock we used, okay? And Thunderbolt. Now his question is about drivers. Okay, so this is a fast. Get this out of the way. This is actually a great question. Let's start from basics and we'll build up, okay? Your computer, whatever it is, whether it be an Android or a Mac OS or a Windows PC, has to have drivers installed to use a drawing tablet. It has to have drivers installed just to use a mouse, okay? Now, let's take the case of a mouse. Long ago, operating systems did not have any drivers, or not everyone even had a mouse. You have to remember this. So new devices got created. So you had to install the driver. Everybody had to install a driver. Okay, I had to install a driver the first time I plugged in, a network card into my computer, because they didn't come with them back then. So lots of these devices were being used all the time, network interface cards and mice, keyboards. Eventually, operating systems just started shipping drivers that worked with most of these devices. That's why today you can plug in basically any USB mouse into a Mac OS or a Windows, and it just works. It's not that there aren't any drivers there. There are. It's just that they were pre-installed or came with the operating system. Okay, that's super important, because that's going to happen here. Now, here's the catch. And we got to do this one at a time. Let's start with Mac OS. Mac OS has mouse drivers, okay, and they work with the majority of mice. You may notice, though, that some mice have special buttons and features that don't translate to normal mice features, so that might require a special driver for those specific mice to use the extra features, okay? But let's just talk about normal mouse behavior, buttons and scrolling. So for Mac OS, in order to use a Wacom tablet or any other tablet, you have to install a driver, because it doesn't have any drivers built in. And that's, of course, one you get from Wacom or Huion or XP Pen or whatever, okay? So that's where that driver came from for Mac OS. Now let's talk about Windows. Windows actually has tablet drivers. The drivers they have for devices is called PNP drivers, plug and play. And they have plug and play tablet drivers. They're not great. The only reason I ask people to use them is sometimes it's an emergency, like your normal tablet drivers are just busted, or I ask them to use those drivers as a test. And you can't mix and match drivers in Windows. You actually only, I mean, it's a very complicated story actually, but let's just say that you can't use a manufactured tablet driver and PNP drivers. You just kind of have to use one or the other. Let's keep that story simple for now, okay? So in Windows, you've already been exposed to an operating system that has tablet drivers built in. Now some tablets, for whatever reason, Wacom, deliberately make it so Windows plug and play drivers don't work with them, okay? And so that's another complication. That's why I don't recommend people using the PNP drivers as a normal behavior, but that's what's going on, okay? Now let's talk about Android, okay? So Android's special here because it's a lockdown operating system. You cannot, I guess you could, as they say, root it and gain control over it, but that is not the normal situation for the vast majority of people using Android devices. Android devices have drivers, but they're the drivers that came from, your manufacturer, Samsung or whoever. There's no facility in Android for a normal human being to install drivers. So we've got a weird situation going on. However, we must remember, and I may have this wrong because, but let's just try it like this. Everyone knows Linux exists, right? And Android takes the Linux kernel and some other components and libraries, and now Android is an operating system built off the Linux kernel, okay? And I hope that's a decent enough description for now. And let me get some water. Konto says, so folks will have to be aware of Android version updates if they have this workflow. Yes. The version of Android is very important here, and you have to be prepared because we'll get more into it, but basically you have to be paranoid with anytime drivers come from the operating system or the manufacturer, and we'll get why that is, right? And Konto says, I might switch to Mac OS, just be able to use a Julian and Wacom at once. Now it is possible on Windows, but with some qualifications, Konto, so I just want to make sure that you know that. And Nick says, yes, basic PNP for mice is in Windows, but yeah, these extra features that gaming mice have, yeah, you got to install their own stuff, right? Okay, now let's say about Android. I mentioned that they don't have the drivers in there, but it came from Linux. I mean, it's built on Linux. Well, Linux, there are two projects, and I don't know when they started. Obviously, I think they started after Linux started, that create tablet drivers for inclusion with Linux operating systems. Okay, and let's just talk about one of them, which is called, you're gonna love the title, LibWacom. LibWacom, one word. Okay, let's get somewhere and take a look at LibWacom. And Harry, I see your comment in the Discord. It's a good. Thank you for writing so much. We'll get to it. Thank you. Let's see. Oh, I'm not even typing in the right thing. Let's see. Let's. Not this. I want a new window. I want to use my demo account. LibWacom. Okay. So this is the GitHub repo. LibWacom is, you know what? It's kind of hard to read this way, isn't it? Because it's black and white. Let me go to the normal Chrome and type that in. And we'll just go over and see what it says, okay? LibWacom is a library to identify graphics tablets and their model-specific features. It provides an easy access to information such as, is this a built-in on-screen tablet? I think they mean pen display. What is the size of this model? The name LibWacom is historical. It was designed originally for Wacom devices, but now it supports any graphics tablet from any vendor. And this is interesting. LibWacom does not make a tablet work. It's merely a database for information about a tablet. It doesn't affect whether the tablet works. LibWacom is used by GUI toolkits. So it looks like this is part of the story, since it's not everything, but LibWacom is there. There's also another driver thing called Digimend. I know, Digimend. Digitizer mending. Digitizer is that little printed circuit board inside the plastic of a drawing tablet, which actually registers the pen. Let's take a look here. Okay, Digimend is a project aiming at improving Linux support for generic tablets. Okay, look at this. We work to provide kernel drivers, kernel and user space driver fixes, accompanying development testing and end user tools, documentation, how-tos. Generic tablets include Huion. I don't even know some of these brands, by the way. KYE, never heard of it. UC Logic, Walltop, which are rebranded and sold by IPTech, Genius, Monoprice, Princeton, Truck. Man, I didn't even heard of some of these. Essentially, any USB connected, notice they said USB connected, tablets not produced by Wacom. For the latter, see the Linux Wacom project. So we've got another project, and I wonder if this is the same as LibWacom. This looks like this looks different from LibWacom. This is Linux Wacom. So, and this is on SourceForge. I wonder if this is, okay. I don't want to dive too deep into it. My point is, there are several sets of people working on making tablets work with Linux. And these libraries apparently are picked up by Android or whoever maintains it, and then they make it into these Android OSs, and that's how we see them in the Samsung Galaxy Tab S8, okay? Now, this is something that happened at a specific point in time. Older Android tablets do not have these, or did not pick these components up, but now they do. So to answer, Nick's second question, right, which is what about drivers? And Android tablets just pick it up as works with pressure, etc. The answer is yes, because the drivers are coming from these other projects, which go through Linux and then make it into Android, and then we get it as a device. And it just works. I didn't do anything special to make that tablet work with my Samsung Galaxy Tab S8 Ultra. It just worked. And now you know the source of, I'm not sure I accidentally selected that thing. My mistake. Let me unselect this. It's trying to encourage me to delete it, and I do not want to delete Nick's comment. Okay, so now you know. Now the next comment Nick makes is, even modern Era Intuos Pros cannot be connected via USB to Android devices. Now this is where I think people in chat and I are sort of on different pages, okay? And I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to get to my 7Pens doc site. And I'm going to update this. So this document is out of date, but it's going to lead me to another document. So just hang on. So I have this document, which is just rough notes, really. I'm going to update it based on this conversation we're having today. But let me summarize what it says. It says, hey, there are certain combinations that may work, okay? Oh, hey, Nem, thank you for the comment. A lot of Wacom documentation suggests that some of these drivers made it in Android 14 and later. And thank you, we'll address that in just a second, actually. So I did some testing, okay? And again, this is the testing I did, okay? Now, it's in the spreadsheet. And by the way, let me tell you what I mean by testing. What I want to do is make sure that pressure sensitivity works, tilt works, and that there's no distortion while drawing, and that as you rotate the Android tablet, nothing freaky happens, like things work, okay? So, let me take a few comments. Oh, this is a follow-up from Hanem's previous comment. Before then, you had to use Wacom Center app. Yeah, which shouldn't be needed anymore, right? Okay, so now let's go on my spreadsheet. Oh, actually, Nick has another. Nick has some great questions today. So Android has some driver embedded, but what about config? You plug it in, it works, but you don't have any controls, button assignments, pressure curves, calibrations, force proportions. You have no control over anything you just listed, Nick. And fortunately, force proportions is done for you. Well, it's forced upon you with Android 15 and 14, okay? Which is really, that comment is really, the last comment about force proportions is really has to deal with these two lines, which I tested. Now in my testing, here's what I found, my friends. I tried a Google Pixel 9 running Android 15, a Samsung Galaxy S8 Ultra, and I tried at different points. At some point it had Android 14, sometimes it had Android 15, and I tried a Samsung S24 Ultra phone, okay? And I tried all these tablets, these Android tablets, and you can see the Android version right here, with these Wacom tablets, okay? And here's the date in which I tested them. And what I found is they all worked. Pressure, tilt, hover, position, correct proportions, landscape, non-landscape, portrait. The only qualification, which it still worked perfectly, was with the CTL, these are some older Wacom consumer tablets, CTL 672 and CTL, CTL 672. I had to use an OTG adapter, an on-the-go adapter, and I bought one from Wacom, though I think you can use any OTG adapter. But yeah, I got all of these Wacom tablets to work, and as you can tell, look what it says here, PTK 670. That's the newest Intuos Pro 2025. I also tried the Intuos Pro 2017, which is the PTH 660. So a bunch of them worked, right? And of course, I tried the Intuos 2, which is the XD, and Intuos 1. They all worked. Okay, they all worked. Yes, Hanem, forced proportions. That is correct. So some of you in chat are saying the Intuos Pro doesn't work, but we need to know which thing you tested it with and the Android version and what happened, because my experiments, again, I tested with several devices, Google Pixel 9, Samsung Galaxy Tab S8 Ultra, and a Samsung S24 Ultra. It was working, okay? And I don't mean to say I'm right, you're wrong, or I mean to say it seems like certain combinations work, and we should just recognize which combinations those are, right? And Cami Luna says, I should try this on my PTH 651. Yes, try it out. It might actually work, right? Okay, so now, Nick's comment has been a goldmine of comments and topics for me to address. So this is where, Nick, I'm curious the experience you had, because I found that it worked, okay? So I'm sure people are gonna be commenting on that. While that's happening, let me address Nick's final comment. Why on the video does it look like the cursor is super laggy? Fantastic question. I should have mentioned that, but let me make sure everyone knows what's going on. Okay, so first of all, let's find the video, okay? Which is back here. I want to just play the section where Nick reports there's lag, okay? Because I want to show you Nick is correct, there's lag. There's a choppiness at the very least. Okay, let's get there.
I have.
Let me mute that thing. Okay, let's see me draw. And take a look at the screen and tell me it's choppy a little bit, okay? You can see it's not smooth. I mean, the lines are smooth, but the cursor seems a little choppy. It's not, even I can see it. Okay, so why is that? So first of all, you see, and this video recorded exactly what my eyes saw. That was not a fault of the video or the recording. It correctly captured what happened with my Samsung Galaxy Tab S8 Ultra. That's exactly what my eyes saw. It was choppy, okay? So it wasn't some sort of video processing artifact. Here's my experience, okay? I've mentioned 100 times in this stream, I'm using the Samsung Galaxy Tab S8 Ultra, okay? And Samsung, the S8 Ultra, all the Ultras support, in their USB-C port, they support DP alt mode, DisplayPort alt mode. What does that mean? It means they can send a video signal out, okay? Now, in theory, what this means is you can take your Samsung S8 Ultra and you can connect it to a monitor and use it as an external monitor. You can either sort of show different things on each screen, the S8 and your monitor, or you can have it mirror and show the same thing. When you're trying to use it when you're not mirroring, what do they call it? Samsung DeX is involved, okay? Now, with the remember, I know I've only tried this with the Samsung S8 Ultra, so I can't say this is gonna happen or not happen with the S10 Ultra or whatever. Every time I plug in an external monitor, whether I'm using Mirror or Extend with Samsung DeX, what gets showed on that monitor is choppy. It's just choppy. I don't know if it's because there's something wrong with the OS, the Android OS. I don't know if they've configured incorrectly. I don't know if it's my fault. But every time it's choppy. And I've tried it with multiple external monitors, external displays. Always it's like this. So yes, there was choppiness, had nothing to do with Wacom, tablet drivers, anything. It was all Samsung, an external monitor issue, okay? So if any of you have a Samsung device that supports the DisplayPort alt mode, I'm curious if you plug it into an external monitor, do you notice any sluggishness? Like I do. Like even if it's mirroring, it will look totally smooth on the Samsung screen, but it's choppy on the external monitor. I have no idea what causes that. I have really no idea what causes that. So I hope that answered it, Nick, about what is, oh, Philip has joined us. Hello, Philip. Thanks for joining us. We've just gotten into the heat of battle on this, on one of the topics here. So we're having a fun discussion. So again, Nick, I just hope that answers the question. And for everyone else, be on the lookout for that, okay? And again, it was a real effect. If you were normally using the tablet, connecting the Intuos with the Samsung, you wouldn't see it because you only have the screen of the Samsung. But if you're going to use an external display, you might see it. So if anyone's had that experience, let me know. And I'll take a look around to see if it's a common thing with these Samsung devices, right? I certainly have never seen anything like that with an iPad. I think it must be something interesting about Samsung or the CPU or something they were doing with that device. Okay, let's take. Camille says, all I have for an external monitor is the XP Pen Artist Pro 16. I'll try that in a bit. Thank you, Camille. That would be appreciated. The more data points we get as a community, the better we'll understand what's actually happening. Okay, next. So I think I got Nick's comments. Nick, those are fantastic comments, honestly. Like, by you asking them, it helped me think through a lot of things. In fact, that was the reason I started the stream today, because I thought I've got to get Nick's questions require a lot of explanation. So I wanted to take the time to have this explanation. And what I'm going to do, by the way, with this stream and the discussion is I'm going to update those Android docs I have, and I'll do another just dedicated video, not a stream, but like a pre-prepared video. I didn't want to do it until I talked to an audience, though, which is what the stream is about, because the situation can be very complex, and I didn't want to miss something, okay? So expect that, maybe in a couple of weeks. Okay, let's get back to the comments here. Where are they? And we'll start from the bottom and then go top. We got through Nick's, and we've got a wow. Hey, this is a comment I'm most proud of. Awesome fit. Thank you. Thank you. And then Eddie Alvaros, it works as long as the Android version support live Wacom drivers. This is in response to another comment. And so now this gets into the Android versions. So, and this is important. Now, I don't have older Android versions around. And I can't even remember trying this with older Android versions. But my understanding is, which multiple people have supported this, is that if this works, it will only work on Android 14 and 15. Okay? It will not work with older versions. Okay? And in general, when I say this, I'm talking about the general topic of using a drawing tablet with Android. Okay, and then this was a question about recommending things. Yeah, we might as well answer this question as well by Eon Break, which was, for Android tablets, do you recommend Samsung Galaxy Tablet or XP Pen Magic Drawing Tablet? And right now, I think the answer is pretty simple. To Samsung, I would recommend the Tab S series. The XP Pen Magic Drawing Tablet, I don't think is there yet. They are planning to release a V2 of it. I misspelled XP Pen here. It says CP Pen. They are planning to do a V2 of it, I hear. I think it's actually available in some markets. But I haven't tried it out yet, and I haven't seen any feedback, so we'll see. So it could be, an interesting choice later. Now, remember, we do know that Wacom is planning to release an Android tablet later this year. So I think before I say, anything but the XP Pen, Magic Drawing Tablet V2 or V1, we have to know what Wacom has done, right? I am hoping, listen, I want Wacom to succeed, right? I want them to do a great Android tablet, and I want it to be something that's special, not just another, if it's as good as the Samsung Galaxy Tab S series, why bother getting it, right? I want them to use the Pro Pen 3. I want them to have features that aren't, maybe like DisplayPort in would be a great feature for them to have. We don't know what their specs are, so we're gonna have to see. And let me get some more water. And there are some comments from the Discord. I'm gonna bring it up in a second. 1 minute. Discord, why am I, I'm typing on my Apple as if I'm using Mac shortcuts. That's why I was confused. Let's see, that is in general. Okay, great. And I think some of these we covered, but I just want to make sure I talk to Harry's questions. Okay, and let me move my face out of the way for this. Okay, so it says no remapping orientation options. So let's start with the remapping. So that's one limitation we have of Android in general. It doesn't know anything about buttons on your tablet. Also, your pen might have two buttons. I don't think it knows it. It may not be able to configure. It may not know that there are two, and even if it knows there are one, I don't think you can override what the one button does. So that's a potential issue. Okay. The other thing is a lot of times with Android, they don't get the area mapping correctly. So you see distorted strokes. That means you draw a circle on your tablet, you get a distorted shape on your device. Okay. And let's see. He says he hasn't tested pressure sensitivity. I found pressure sensitivity worked in any Android app that worked with pressure, so it worked very well for me. And finally, he says, not long ago, Pixel phones would stretch the active area. This is that mapping between active area and screen, and the proportions would be all wrong. So yeah, it's pretty typical. This experience is pretty typical of what people saw with Android tablets and a drawing tablet put together, okay? Okay, so let's get back to, let me find my notes here somewhere. as always, when I create these streams, I try to keep live notes so that we know and have a record of what we're talking about, and I don't miss anything. Okay, let me show the notes now. Hang on a second. Ooh. I had a yawn and sneeze at the same time. Sorry. Okay, so we covered Intuos 2. We covered how it's connected and why. We covered the choppy video strokes. We covered the driver situation, why it works. Covered Digimend, and there's another project that was mentioned, Linux.com. Oh yeah, this is with the Android versions. I don't need this comment. So I should look for Android 14 and 15. Right, that's, again, I'm not saying they'll give you the world. I'm saying basic features will work, okay? And those basic features are hover, position, and tilt. Pen buttons is kind of like they don't work, limited, and then none. So you just don't get to use the tablet buttons at all. And same with any other auxiliary things like sliders or dials on the tablet. Okay. People wanted to see some demos. So what do you want? I'm going to look at the chat while we're waiting. What do you want to see me demo? I think people want to see an Intuos Pro. Happy to demo that. I can get the Huion Fuego. We can try that. Any other high Voidots, and I think Nick also mentioned the Deco XP Pen Deco Pro Gen 2. I can try that. So let's let me just write down my demos. We're getting to a portion where we're demoing some things in the second Voidouts. Let's see. Can you see the screen? Yeah. Let's see. Come on. Why does it? Okay, let's try some demos. Okay. So again, we're going to do Sam's S8 Ultra. And unfortunately, I don't have any. Sorry, S8 Ultra. I don't have other Samsung tablets that would work in this case. That could easily demo. I could try an S9 FE. I just can't capture the screen the same way. So we'll try the S8 because it's a bit easier for me to use. So we'll try an Intuos Pro. Let's do a 2017 and a 2025. We'll try XP Pen Deco Pro Gen 2. And we'll try Huion Fuego. Okay, M. Let me know if there's any other tablets you want me to demo. Okay, so give me a minute. I'm gonna go collect those tablets and I'm gonna come back and we can try some things. Okay, so just hang on. Okay, I'm back, and I've collected like 5 or 6 tablets. We're gonna try them out. I'm gonna see what actually happens. Okay, so let me move my phone out of the way, and I'm gonna disconnect my Surface Pro 8. We'll come back to it a bit later. And I need to plug in my Samsung Galaxy Tab S8 Ultra. You know, I gotta tell you, it is exhausting to say that full phrase. Samsung Galaxy Tab S8 Ultra. Okay. And I'm just erasing the silly little strokes I made earlier. And I think I can use my special view for this. Okay, now remember, this is going to look choppy. And the choppiness is not the video recording equipment, it's just Samsung DeX or whatever. It's like when it's doing this external display stuff, which is how I'm recording, you're gonna see it. It will not look as choppy, let me put, you can't see it. It won't look as choppy here on this, if the upper, it's hard to gesture here. On this screen with my fingers are pointing at, it won't look as choppy, it's just hard to see because of how the lighting is set up in this room, okay? This is more just so you can understand how my hands are actually doing this. Okay, so it's there, and what I want to do, I want to test out, and hang on. I may need another cable. I do have that cable here. Fortunately, all of these are USB connected, so that'll simplify my task. There's a, I can't swing the camera over, but I'm connecting this to my Thunderbolt dock, okay? So I have this lavender cable here. Kind of almost matches my shirt. And we're gonna try. So the first thing people asked about was, what? The Intuos Pro tablet. So why don't we make that the beginning of our journey? Sorry, my microphone isn't quite where it should be. So what do we have here? Intuos Pro 2025, the PTK 670. Okay. What's going to happen? So I'm not going to bother testing tilt. I mean, I think if pressure works, we'll be fine. Arch knows what Arch, you know what I'm really going for. He gets it. He gets it. This was so yes, this was inspired by that kind of Miami Vice type thing going on with the pastels. Now, I don't think Crockett and Tubbs wore a button-up shirt, but you get the idea. It's, you know, very light jacket, kind of pastel color. So yeah, that is exactly. I'm not sure I would have literally used the word drug dealer, but yes, that is the essential visual vibe I was going for. So thanks for joining us, Arch. Okay, what is this? Is this my Pro? Yeah, ProPen 3. Okay, some people said this was not going to work, and remember, who knows? Maybe I made the mistake in my testing. Let's see what happens. Okay. Well, it works. Oh, Cammy has a comment. If the shirt was red, I'd call this the Yakuza video game look. You know what? You have given me inspiration. I'm gonna go get a red shirt. What? And would it be with a black jacket? I will do it. Not this stream, but later stream, I will absolutely do it. Okay. So, is there any doubt remaining that Intuos Pro 2025 this number? Okay, so hover works, right? I was drawing on the glass here. I meant to draw here. Hover works. So that's success number 1. Number 2, I mean, obviously it's tracking the pen position. Again, don't worry about the choppiness. That's just an artifact of Samsung. And pressure is working, though you cannot see it, so maybe I should pick a different brush. Let's try a soft pen. Can you see it? Pressure's working, right? Right? I'm pressing harder, it's thicker and darker, and then as I press lightly, it's thinner. And I think this is all the evidence you need. There's one more test it's actually two more tests. They're very related. We need to do, okay? So let me just undo some of this. This is a cap of a bottle of something, and it has the property of being circular. So whenever we test a pen tablet, you know we have to do this. For me to say it works, when I trace a circle on this tablet here, that circle had better show up on the tablet, on the Android device. Okay, so let's do it. That's correct. That's a correct circle. Okay? So the proportion, they have forced proportions correctly. Now, we're not done. We're not done. This is going to be a little confusing, okay? Because the design is very human. Let's see. Now I'm going to do this, which is going to screw things up. Let's see if it does what I think it's going to. Will it do it? Yeah, okay. You see what happened, right? Okay, I'm going to erase this circle, if I can. There we go, okay. So the tablet, as you can see, is in portrait mode. Will it still work? Remember, I didn't unplug anything. Will it work? So actually, before we get to that, the circle thing, let's just see what happens. Where is the pen? Like, okay, I can get up here. I can go all the way to the right, and I can, right's here, and then down. So if you look at the tablet, I'm only able to draw here, which is correct. It's mapping the aspect ratio correctly. Okay, now, this is going to produce a much larger circle, but it's okay. Well, sorry, I can't do this perfectly because but you get the idea, folks. This actually worked correctly. The circle has correct mapping. So, Wacom Intuos Pro 2025 with Android 15, specifically on the Samsung, works fine, okay? Now, let's reset the orientation here. So Nick, I'm waiting for you to see if you have a comment on this. Yeah, he does, okay, right on time. Forced proportions is cutting off the right side of the tablet working at. That's correct, Nick. If there's any, so even when it was in landscape, it was cutting off a little bit of the height so that it mapped, or the right edge, so it mapped this correctly. So in both cases, it was cutting off a little bit because these don't have the same aspect ratio. I think this tablet is the Android is 16 by 10, and this, of course, is 16 by 9, the Wacom. So it had to do a little extra to make it all work. And I see now I have my my comments here are a little, I forced the comments to get super large when I did not mean to. So let's shrink them down. There we go. It'll be a little easier for people to see when a comment comes up. Okay? So let me know if there's anything else you want me to test. But I think we've gotten it with the 2025. Okay, so that's good. Lib, Wacom, Digimen, Linux, Wacom, whatever, those things are all doing what they're supposed to be doing, and things are working. Okay. Oops, I disconnected the Samsung. I did not mean to do that. Okay, it'll come back on in a second, I think. There we go. Okay, so let me erase this garbage. Okay, now unplug Intuos Pro 2025. Let me keep that here. You cannot see. And we're going to try Intuos Pro 2017. And, 100% I believe this will work. I just want, because people had questions, and I just want to make sure they saw it. Okay? This is the PTH 660, so Intuos Pro Medium 2017 edition. Can't use the Pro Pen 3, so I gotta use, is this a Pro Pen 2? Yeah, it is. Pro Pen 2 for this one. So, oops, that's, oh, okay. I'm laughing because touch was engaged. We'll get back to touch. Let me disable touch on the Wacom. Okay. Okay, here we go. So hover works, drawing works. You can see pressure works. Feels good to draw, by the way. And does it correctly do the proportions? Let us take a look. It can look a little elongated because of the way I drew it, but I think you get it. It is correct. Okay. Okay, that's good. Now we go to portrait again. Flips. Erase. Erase all these strokes. Okay. And again, going back to Nick's comment, where's the active area? It should be mapped into this region right here. So I'll put my my guide there, and let's just start drawing. Again, yeah, seems to be working fine. Circle is a circle. Right? Okay, so everyone should be happy. This is working correctly as we'd expect. Okay, that's good. These are tablets we pay $250 for, so, or $300 for, so yeah, it's nice to know they actually work with this version of Android. Again, this is running Android 15. I recently upgraded from Android 14 on the Samsung. Okay, now we're going to go. Let's see, Nick has an interesting comment. As I remember, people were asking on Wacom Reddit if PTH 660 can work with Android, and officials responded no. I'll try to, if you have the link to that, I'd love to see it. I will try to find it myself. I believe they probably, in a sense, are correct. Like, there's a million devices with Android 13 and below. And yeah, it won't work correctly, I guess. So and Nick asks, so I kind of understand why they would say that, because they can't guarantee that it'll work. It's certain requirements, right? Is it via USB only, no Bluetooth? We can try Bluetooth in a little bit, Nick. Just remind me that we get a little bit later. I want to do the basic testing with the cables first, and then we'll try Bluetooth. Okay, so for the next tablet, we're going old. Not Wacom old, but Huion. This is actually the first non-Wacom tablet I ever bought, which is the Huion HS611. It's ancient, and I kind of like this. I'm not gonna lie. Like it, you can tell it's like an older EMR design, but it's got features that modern tablets just don't think about having. I'm gonna talk about it because I just, again, I don't recommend this normally to people, but if you're like, it's cheap and like if you had to get one and this was available to you, it's not the worst thing you could get. But so I'll talk about some of the features it actually has on it. Number one, it has these media keys. I'm not going to press them. Oh, actually, I'm going to press them. It's safe. It has like play, pause, next track, previous track, volume controls. That's nice. I believe this is actually a volume slider. I can't remember. And there's 10 buttons, and there's a little bit of like there's some raised symbols on this, so you can actually feel which button it is. Okay, so actually a decent tablet. And let's have the pen here. This is a PW500 pen. Now, I don't know what's going to happen. I've literally never tried this, so let's see what happens. Okay? Let's see what happens. And let's move this out of the way. And connect. This is a test of all those drivers. Did they actually do the right thing, even if it's not Wacom? Again, I don't know what's going to happen. We're going to try. Because this is an old Huion tablet. Okay, well, I heard a little beep. I guess that's good news. Let's start Getting back to my normal orientation here. And let me rehydrate. And one more thing. Okay. So, nothing's happening. Oh, wait a second, something is happening. Sorry, my mistake. But it's not what I expected. Let's see what's happening here. I saw something actually occur. Where did the pointer was moving. Was I just hallucinating? Did someone see it? Okay. It's not happening that I can see. For a second, I thought I saw something moving here, but maybe I am wrong. I'm going to try plugging it in again. If it doesn't work the first time, try plugging it again. No. Huion HS611 didn't have any effect. And let me just make sure hang on. Because sometimes these can get in the wrong state. First of all, it's not even in portrait landscape. Let me make sure I can draw with my finger. Something's wrong here. First, you need to make sure we can draw normally before I make any statements about this HS611. Let's try this again. Okay. Give me a second. I'm going to maybe kill this app. So let's not make a hasty judgment yet for Infinite Painter. Oh, sorry, this Huion. I want to make sure. I should always account for that testing. Make sure I can draw. I see part of the problem here. The opacity got set to like 1. Okay. Okay, so it is working with my finger now. So that's good. Okay. So now we'll do the fair test. Okay, let's see what happens. It actually does work. It actually does work. In fact, you can see if your eyes are good, you might be able to see, in fact, that the width of the stroke is in fact changing as well. So pressure is working. There you go. So I take back my previous statement. HS611 is working correctly. In fact, it feels kind of good to draw on, right? And now the question is, what about the aspect ratio stuff? So let's put this here. One of the reasons you didn't see it work earlier is I was drawing and it was drawing with a very opacity 1 stroke. Is it correct? Yeah, you can tell already. It's a circle, so that's good. What happens with portrait? Oops, I got the camera turned on. Okay, hang on. Let's I don't know what happened there. I must have clicked on a camera thing. Okay. Okay, lesson learned. I did it again. Okay. Okay, here we go. Now, does it work again? Let me erase. And okay, so first test is where's the active area? And you know what's interesting is it's in a different location. It's kind of like it's like in the middle. Okay, I expect it to be to the left. It's actually in the middle. Void outs. You know, the thing is, when they say that it's compatible with the 6.0, I'm sure a lot of these tablets will connect. The question is, do they have that aspect ratio mapping? And like, a lot of people just never get the right aspect ratio thing working. And I don't know if it's the fault of the tablet or Android or whatever, but now at least it seems like it is. But let's verify in this case that is the circle the correct orientation. And actually, in this case, it's not. That circle, this is a circle I'm tracing, but it's an oval on Android. So while I would not call this completely working with this 611. So that's the first thing we've discovered. Some tablets, position works, pressure works, but the force proportions does not correctly work. And this, in certain orientations, it seemed to be correct with landscape orientation, but not in portrait. So that's an interesting mystery. And I'm going to recheck it actually on landscape just to see if I detect anything weird. Okay, Nick has a question. I've checked Reddit, and yeah, there is some info that it can work via plug and play USB, but not guaranteed. Not guaranteed, I think, is the key phrase. And some people complain that pressure is not working properly, like on a PC. Interesting. They say that PTH 660 Pro 2 works worse, less sensitive than native Samsung S Pen. Not sure what it means though. Oh, yeah, I'm struggling to think of what that might be, what they're describing there. That's very interesting. Okay, since we had that mapping problem, let's go back and let me see if I can get back to Infinite Painter. Infinite Painter. I can go back to landscape here, and let's just see, is this landscape? It's not landscape, it's still portrait. There we go. Oops. God, stupid Samsung smart things got triggered again. Okay, so I'm gonna leave that here, okay? So you see the circle differences. And let's go pick a different color, actually. And, okay. They're not going to be aligned, but you'll get the idea in a second. So actually, you know what? I think actually in both cases, it's not a perfect circle. I think this is also distorted. It's a little tricky sometimes to see, but when I look at this, stupid. Something I'm doing when I pick this tablet up is always triggering another app. So I have to be careful about which corner I'm touching. So basically, yeah, the HS611 works it doesn't work enough for me to say that it works. It does not have the aspect ratio right. It's not correct in landscape orientation, and it's really not correct in portrait. So HS611 is not good for Android 14 and 15. So that's my statement there. And Nick asks, aren't apps like on Android like Krita able to control stuff like pressure curves? Yes. If you need pressure curves, since you don't get them in the driver anymore, you have to do it in the application. And Krita does. Krita actually lets you do it in two places. You can do it globally in the application, or you can also apply another pressure curve. You can have two in force at the brush level. Okay. So this was good. So HS611, not enough. Partially works with Android, not enough for me to recommend. But this is an old tablet. But this tells us something, okay? What it tells us is just because Android 14 and 15 work correctly with one tablet in those ways I'm measuring, it doesn't mean it's going to work with every tablet. So as I mentioned, I emphasized earlier, you have to talk about specific combinations. You can't just say drawing tablets work with Android in general, with Android 14 or 15. It's got to be specific combinations. That's the real lesson I'm trying to emphasize here. Okay, next we're going to try. Hang on. Oh, we have an XP pen here. This is what is this one? Deco LW. Deco LW. Oh, Cami Luna has an update for us. The PTH 651 works fine on both Pixel 9a and Magic Notepad. Oh, you tried Magic Notepad, quite nice. And Cami Luna, does the do circles work out correctly? Just want to double check on that. I think it would, but I just want to double check. Okay, this is a relatively recent XP Pen tablet, not a Pro version, and we're going to try it out. Okay, let's close this. Another thing I just noticed when I was drawing with the Huion, actually when I was drawing with the Wacom, did you notice there was like this pointer arrow, a yellow pointer arrow? But with the Huion there wasn't. I just saw the brush outline. I saw the brush outline also with the Wacom, but I also saw that yellow arrow. So there's something else going on here that works thinking. That works, that is worth some investigation. Cami Luna, circles work perfectly, really. Okay, fantastic. Okay, where's the pen for this thing? Okay, this takes the XP X3 Elite pen. And Cami Luna says, I had both devices on portrait orientation and I wasn't forced to rotate the pen tablet. Fantastic, so I figured it out. That's great. Okay. Now this is, I'm really curious what's going to happen here. So I keep on drawing on the glass of the Samsung, and I'm not supposed to. That's not what I'm, okay. Let's see. Oh, whoa. This is messed up. This is way messed up. Take a look at the circle. You don't even need me to trace this thing out. You see what's happening? I am drawing like a circle. You see what's happening? It is completely messed up. And for those who don't believe me, let me draw an actual circle, okay? Okay. So XP Pen Deco LW with Android, no. No. Not works. Does not work. This is one of the. I think this is probably a combination of it. It's not doing the proportions correctly and a bug, because this is so far off that it's unacceptable. Okay, it's unacceptable. I mean, really, it's just incorrect. Now, again, I don't know where the problem is, but it could be with the tablet itself. I don't know. It's hard to say. I don't think it's with Android, because Android is working fine with some tablets, the Wacom ones. So far, Wacom is, as to borrow a baseball analogy, it's batting 1,000 with these Android tablets, Android 15 tablets at least. XP Pen and Huion, not so much. Okay, Voidouts mentions, yeah, I did notice that arrow, probably because of the better compatibility with Wacom. I actually think that's the right statement, Voidouts. I think the arrow, which I don't want, is actually a sign, though, that the right thing is happening, right? Like it's a telltale sign. Now, in reality, we don't want the arrow to always show because we don't need it, right? We just want the brush cursor to show. But right now, it's being a useful, maybe diagnostic for us. Okay. Okay. I am getting dehydrated. Let's see. That circle is worse than what you get from the XP Pen Deco 640. Wow. That's saying something. Burmix, I'm not sure if this contributes to anything, but XP Pen Deco Pro works really well via USB Android with Android 9. If I'm understanding Burmix, you're saying with a specific older version of Android, it actually works better? At the very least, I think this supports my claim. You have to deal with compatibility between Android and drawing tablets in pairwise fashion. Depend on the specific Android version and the specific tablet. You can't make broad statements. But thank you for sharing that. That's actually useful information. Okay. So there's my XP Pen. Kind of disappointed, actually. I was hoping that was going to be better because it's a little newer tablet than the Huion. Okay. Now let's talk about a tablet. It's a Huion. It's a modern one. The Frego M, which Huion says works well with this situation. Okay? This Android configuration. Say Frego. And I like Frego. Frego's a good beginner tablet. It's a tad on the expensive side, to be honest, with what you get, but it's a good tablet. It's a decent tablet. I really wish Huion had released it with a PW600 pen, but PW550 is pretty good too. Where's that USB cable? Oh, it's on top. Okay. So let me erase this horrible oval. And let me clear this thing here. There we go. So I need a PW550. Is that this thing? No, this is the X3 Pro Slim. This is the Voidot says, I have a Frego M. Never use it on Android though. You have to use force proportions on PC. Well, look, I recommend force proportions on PC or Mac OS always. It's required. Even if you don't think you need it, I think you should set it. Okay, this should work. This is the PW550S pen. And so, okay, look, we see the yellow arrow. That's a first good sign. We think the right thing is happening if we see the yellow. I mean, I don't want the yellow cursor, but so far it's been a good diagnostic tool. Okay, so hover works. Pressure works. You can see it get lighter the thinner, so the lighter I press. Okay. It's responsive. Let me clear layer again. And let's draw the circle. And I think that looks correct. Yeah. You know, I will say this. I think maybe the image, no, it looks correct. It looks correct. I wonder if there's a way I can measure it. Because, you know, I'm a human drawing it from different angles, sometimes I can get it a little bit off. But yeah, that looks correct to me. The stupid Samsung smart things again. I've got to figure out how to disable it. Shit. Okay, now what do we do? Let me move the Frego box out of the way. Let's go. Stupid smart things. Okay, there we go. Let's get this out of the way. Will this work? First question is, where is the cursor? Okay, so you see my hand? The active area is over here on the far left, which is kind of normal. So I'm going to put this here. And a little bit higher maybe. Yeah. Let's draw a circle. Looks good. So proportions seem mapped correctly here. So Frego M with Android worked great on both orientations. Okay, so that was the Frego, and I had a feeling it would work because Huion made a big deal about it. Okay, and then let's see. Bearmix has an interesting comment, which is, I'm not sure if this works well in every brand of tablet, but from your experience, XP Pen Deco Pro works great on Android 9. So it seems to me there's some, again, something tablet manufacturers did were specifically designed for certain versions of Android. Now, I don't know what they did though, because they couldn't have drivers, so how they made it work, I don't know. Because I don't have Android 9, and Android 9 is really old, so I'm sure a lot of people still have it, but it's, I just have 14 and 15. Actually, all my Samsungs right now are 15. Okay, and then we're gonna do a more recent XP Pen tablet, because I want XP Pen to have one victory, one good feeling story in this stream. Tablet Kitten says, HID changes. So something, I only have the vaguest knowledge about HID, Tablet Kitten, so maybe if you could elaborate what that means. Okay, Nick says, S10 is a pretty beefy tablet with lots of RAM. Can it handle multi-layer 3,000, 4,000 pixel docks? I could try. I mean, it's all a function of the app, I think, combined with the, I think Cami replied on that, but I'm going to try just for a second here. Okay, before I do that, let me try the other tablet, then we'll get to it. This is the Deco Pro Gen 2. This is what? The MW from XP Pen. Tablet Kid says, sometimes updating the firmware on a tablet would fix up some bugs with Android. Interesting. I'll have to try that with some of these. But overall, I think my experience is mixed bag. And if you're going to buy a tablet for Android use, get someone to validate that it worked. Don't trust a generic statement, even if it's Android 15 or 14. Okay, let's get this tablet out of the way. Where are we at here? Okay, plugging it in up here. Okay, and let's get this thing back onto what do you call this? The portrait landscape orientation dance. Hello, there we go. There we go. I did it again. I truly hate that, how easy it is sometimes to trigger that Samsung thing. Telvikin says, tablet firmware should only be relevant for older Android versions. Android 14 Plus should be fine. And Philip has a good comment here. I'm somewhat impressed to see an automatic aspect ratio thing happening. Philip, I'm the same way. I had the same exact thought when I was initially testing this with the Wacom tablets. Like, it takes some sort of attention to detail for a developer to realize this is a situation, because I don't think many people, not many people still have tablets, I mean drawing tablets, so for someone to have thought, oh, we need to handle this special case and just make it work is nice. So it's very nice. I thank whoever did that in the Android or those various driver teams. Okay. Oh, I'm using the wrong pen. That would be a problem. Am I? Yeah, I need the XP Pro X3 Pro pen. So what's the first test? Is that yellow? The yellow thing is there. That's a good sign. That's a good sign. Next question is, oh, what the? Okay, hang on. My brain is messed up here. Okay. Okay, I see something. Something happened. Something happened. This is weird. I accidentally did something, but it's not obvious to you. So it is in landscape mode, but the pen is moving funny. But I think, oh, goodbye, Tablet, and thanks for dropping by. I'll be curious about your comments on the VOD. Philip's got the right idea. It's it'd be great if you could plug it in, but they just don't support it. Though I think you can connect wirelessly, and they do. Okay, So notice I rotated the tablet. It's still landscape, but the cable is where it normally should be on the right side. Now let's try drawing. Okay, we see the yellow cursor, which is correct. It's correctly, this is messed up. This is really messed up. You'll see it very obviously, watch this. I'm going up and down, look what the cursor's doing. Huh? Like if I write 7 pens, look what happens. Actually, there's no easy way for me to do this, actually. This is so messed up. If I draw a circle, it's just going in the opposite direction, so I just can't draw with this. Let's, maybe the app is confused, okay? So let's close Infinite Painter and try it again. Let me close all these apps, actually. Let's try it again. And you should see how, someone said how choppy the screen was. That's all Samsung. That's not the tablet. Okay. Now it's still messed up. This is not working correctly. It kind of is, but it's mirrored, right? So if you see me draw a circle, I'm going clockwise. Watch what happens. Actually, I gotta find out where to do this. You see this? I'm going clockwise, but it's rotated like 90 degrees or something. It's not even mirrored. It's like very confused about what it wants to do, right? So it's even more confusing than mirroring. Let's try doing it in portrait, if I can jiggle it. Okay. Let's take this layer and clear it. This is completely screwed up. So it looks like my initial theory, that yellow cursor is a good sign. It's not enough. This is wrong. This cannot be used correctly. Again, it's not mirroring. It's taking what I'm drawing and rotating it by 90 degrees. So if I go right, it's going down. Here, I'll show it to you. I go right physically, it's going down. So I go down, it should go left. If I go left, it should go up. And if I go up, it should go right. Okay, see? It's completely messed up. Not good. Disappointed, actually. I expected this to just work because it's a new tablet, a relatively new tablet. It's a Deco Pro, after all, and don't know what's going on here. So what did we notice? We saw one Huion work. We saw none of the XP pens work correctly, and all of the Wacoms did work correctly. Okay? So it looks like XP Pen and Huion have a way to go, at least as far as I'm concerned. But Voidouts, when I rotate the tablet, it also rotates. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Let me try another orientation. Let's try this. If I rotate, sorry. So we're back to this. Oh, stupid. Let's get back here. It'll still mess up. No matter what I do, it's rotated by 90 degrees. So there is no orientation of the tablet, which just makes this work. And just to be sure, because I love your idea, let's rotate it like this and see if it works. Nope. No matter which orientation I choose, the wrong thing happens. I can go down, it'll go left. See? Oh, sorry, Voidouts. Sorry, I misunderstood. Voidouts has a good, very practical idea. So let's clear this. Okay. Cancel, come on. No. Okay. It's a really smart idea. Let's try, is it this? Bearmix, I think you and Voidouts are thinking the same thing. Okay. I'm rotating the tablet itself. Okay, yeah, you two got it right. I think Cami Luna's piling in on it as well. Okay, okay, I rotate the tablet, which sucks, but look at the circles. Come on, XP Pen. You gotta do better than this. You gotta do, now I can't fully blame them, but like, come on. So maybe I'll file a bug report or something and then say, hey, just you gotta make this work. I will make no, you know, I know this is a stream. I will make a full video on all these things. But this is something XP Pen has got to fix. Maybe Huion seems like they have an idea how to fix it now because the Frago does work correctly. So this is where we're at. This is Android today, right, with tablets. And I have a few notes. Let me see if I can get there. Give me a second. And I'll show you some of these notes. Yeah, Nick, isn't it funny if they're promoting it like, and I'm sure there's probably one version of Android and a specific version of one of the tablets where it does work, but you know, if anything, they should work with Android 14, 15, right? Because it's like that's the most support we've ever had for this. Okay, I'm looking through my public notes now to see if there's anything. You can't see what I'm saying, so just hang on. I'm just seeing if I topics I wanted to cover. Bearmix says that's a new Deco Pro. I don't have that one. I have the previous version, and it works well. Yeah, Bearmix, I believe you. I believe you. I think things have been changed between different versions, and they may not test every combination, which I don't blame them for. But like, this is something they can get. They can get. So I believe that your situation works, and that's what makes this so difficult. You know, I see so many people on Reddit saying, hey, I bought the tablet says it works, and they get it with their Android and it doesn't. Now it could be a combination of firmware update versus Android, but it's just confusing for people, right? That's why you always gotta check specific combinations of tablet, Android, and a drawing tablet. But this is a disappointment. Like, I think I will, in my final video on this, I will talk and extensively or address this issue extensively and share some feedback with XP Pen. And we'll have to see with Huion, right? We'll have to see with Huion. Oh, I did mean to try one more thing, but I need, is it even possible for me to try it? Hang on a second. Yeah, I think it's possible. Let's see. A Birdie says, I tested 5 or 6 tablets on Android 10 with no success. Seems like a phone change in order. Yeah. Yeah, I think it does not surprise me, Birdie. Eddie Alvarez says, I'm fighting a couple of annoying mosquitoes. I sympathize. I hate mosquitoes. And I'm glad I live in an area of the Pacific Northwest where they're not really around. Okay, I've been trying pen tablets. Let's try a pen display. Okay, so we're gonna try a few of those. Yeah, this is a fun story. Okay, I need a pause. I'm gonna just step away. I'm gonna go get a MoveInk and maybe a Huion Canvas 13 Gen 3. And let's just test those, okay? Oh, Nick has a question. Main question for me, does using a USB tablet with Samsung beat? Does using a USB tablet with Samsung beat using the S Pen? Let me be back with some equipment, Nick, and let's address that question. Okay, I'll be right back. Hang on. Okay, I am back. I am back. Thanks for your patience. So I brought a Movink 13 and a Canvas 13 Gen Huion Canvas 13 Gen 3. We're going to try it out because while pen tablets are fun, lots of you want to use pen displays, and also pen displays have unique issues and features that we need to discuss about with Android. Now, before I start talking about the new tablets, let's see what comments came in while I was walking around. I think I left with Nick having a comment. Main question for me would be, does using a USB tablet with Samsung beat using an S Pen? Well, here's the thing. S Pen's an okay pen. And S Pen works better on a Samsung device than it does on a Wacom device. S Pen is a UDEMR pen. So Wacom kind of sabotages its pressure behavior a little bit on Wacom devices, so that you don't. I guess they want to make sure you understand it's. They don't want to compete with the S Pen for their own pens. So, but when you use it on a Samsung device, they're a bit better, but they're not super great. But they're okay. They're okay. So if you're getting a pen tablet with a Samsung device, or a drawing tablet in general, that has, let's say, a Pro Pen 2, a Pro Pen 3, or a Huion PW600 series pen, it will be better than the S Pen. It'll be better than the S Pen because it has a lower initial activation force, and it has those pens have a higher maximum pressure range, or maximum pressure meaning a wider pressure range. Now, some of the benefits are a little you won't get. So, for example, the Huion pen has 2 or 3 buttons. And as far as I can tell on an Android device, you can only use one of the buttons. And I really don't think, I think the eraser may work we'd have to try it out. But at least in terms of pressure, you'll get some benefits. Tilt should work because it's still an EMR tablet, but I've never tried testing that specifically. But yeah, it should work. So yeah, there are real benefits, but the S Pen's not bad. It's a decent pen. It's okay. Now with Nick, you and I have the same phone, the Samsung S24 Ultra phone. You can actually use a Wacom CP913 pen or 912 pen. Yeah, 913? I can't remember. 913, I think, pen with it, because it's a UDMR pen. You might like it. It's a bit better than the S Pen. Not terrifically better, but it's a bit better. Let's see. Yes, and Nick points out the S Pens come in different sizes. Yeah, the phones come with a little tiny one, and the tiny pen will actually work on an Android device because they're all use a specific generation of Wacom UDMR tech, so they're kind of interchangeable. Let's see. Okay, so Wacom Move-Ink is what I have now. And I need another cable. Give me a second. Yes, okay, I got a Thunderbolt cable here. Okay, so I'm gonna need the Thunderbolt cable. Okay, so I'm gonna unplug my, you can't see it. So I'll just have to tell you to imagine. I'm unplugging my pen tablets, moving my circle thing. We don't need the circle now because you can see the distortion as I draw. I don't need this cable. And this is the first complication we get into, is how do you connect a pen tablet to one of these? And this time I think I'll show you the setup. Let me just clear up a few more pieces of paper and things. Okay. For a second, I'm just going to keep this around my neck, and I'm going to move this. Okay. So. Okay. Let me show you the overhead view, and I'm going to tilt the overhead camera a little bit so you can see the full setup. Okay, so you all can see what's going on here. This is the Samsung Galaxy Tab S8. This is a Thunderbolt 4 cable that's connected to the CalDigit TS4 dock. And now the question is, how do you connect, let's just say, a Move-Ink to this thing? Let's bring the Move-Ink out of here. Wearing this cable is a bit awkward. Okay, so how do you connect this? We could try doing this. Let me just show it to you. Okay, so it's just, of course, not connected to the dock anymore. I have a Thunderbolt cable, Thunderbolt 3. Nothing special about this cable. And I'm going to figure out where the heck that USB-C port is. And I don't need to show you all that. And where is the Wacom? This is a big Thunderbolt, long Thunderbolt cable, so let's connect it up here. Okay, let's see what happens. Oh, I gotta turn it on. Well, it's not even turning on. Now, why is that? you can't see it. You might be able to see a light. There's actually a light that was beeping here a second ago. Do you see it? I think it's probably telling me I'm not giving enough power. So the reason I did this is something you would intuitively expect to work. But this thing is just not working because I think that light beeping means it's just not getting enough power. Okay, so what's... yeah, exactly, Camille. That's exactly where I'm getting at. I've got another, somewhere here on my desk, I've just randomly got another USB-C cable that is meant for power. This is actually the power cable for the Huion Canvas Pro 19, and I've just left it here because it's a long cable and very convenient. So I'm going to plug it into the left side of the tablet, okay? There we go. Wacom appears. Let's just see what happens. This thing says it detects the display. Let me get this properly. Okay. So now I'm curious because you should be able to see, and I will tell you if there's any choppiness. This is what? This is not the pen I want. I want this one. Do you see a different? I'll tell you right now, if I'm drawing with my finger, this does not seem to be choppy, okay? Now this camera that's filming, by the way, is 30 hertz, so keep that in mind. But what I see with my own eyes is not choppy at all. And let me clear this layer. Okay, yes, that's the moving Camulina. And then I'm gonna try here. I gotta tell you, it feels great. It feels great. Right, now by the way, remember, I can use the S Pen here and here, which is kind of wild. Okay, so that's the first thing. This actually feels good. It's very responsive. So as long as you can get enough power to this thing, things are working fine. Now this is with the mirrored case. Before I move off the mirrored case, let's talk about the third connection option that's interesting. I apologize, there's so many wires here, which is, what's the negative of this case? Can anyone tell me? Like as if I'm a school teacher, right? Performing a quiz. The negative of this case is this tablet is getting power. I mean, my Wacom, which is great. But this thing is, of course, the Samsung on top is losing power, right? Now, even if it's not trying to charge this, this is actively losing power, okay? So what should we do? Well, if we use the 3-in-1 cable, that could help us, I guess. But what I like to do is use the dock, because the dock gives me so many other benefits, okay? And maybe we'll discover if there's choppiness because of the dock. So let's find out. I'm going to, I gotta figure out where all these cables are. This is the cable from the dock, okay? In theory, this should work too. So now the Samsung is getting charged. Okay, you can see it charging. It says 99 up on the top. Okay, and now Wacom says, hey, no signal power saving. That's okay. We're going to, it's got power. I'm going to unplug power, take the Thunderbolt cable. So many little cables here. And I'm going to connect it to a, now I have to lean over to do this. I'm going to connect it to the dock. Okay. Now, this can get confusing because from the perspective of the Samsung, it is connected to two separate external monitors. Okay? And it's going to be thinking, hey, I don't know what to do here. Something's off. Okay, and so this case isn't working right now because this thing, now by the way, notice what is working. Touch is working. Okay, isn't that weird? So it's getting data, but like there's no signal here. Okay, and you're right, Nick. It is hardly usable. Like, don't forget, these are pretty long cables, so they're especially awkward even for me to use, right? Now, what I'm going to do, if this does not screw things up, is I'm going to disconnect the. Okay, look, I disconnected my my recording device, my HDMI recording device. Now, what do you see? Right? One cable goes to the Wacom, one cable goes to this. Both are being powered. Right? A Birdie asks, would a power bank be able to run the Movink? And let me just move my. And would it pass through to charge the Android? Well, okay, fantastic. You asked that. This some pen displays, one that I can think of, the Huion Canvas Pro 19 and maybe the 27, they support power delivery, but the Wacom Movink does not. So the Movink specifically cannot charge this thing, okay, which is a negative. But this is where we're at. So do you have to use a dock like I'm using? No, but I'm using it because it simplifies my life. Okay, now I'm moving this thing up and down to see if there's any choppiness. Right now, it doesn't seem to be any choppiness. So, but this is mirroring the screen, okay? And let me zoom in now so you can see a little more closely what the heck is going on, okay? So let's get here, and let's get one of these pens, and yeah, it all works. It feels good, just like it did before. So this is viable. I've shown you 3 different ways to connect, that are 3 different possible ways a pen display might connect to this Android tablet, okay? And remember, in all these times, we're mirroring the screen. Let's see what happens when I do not mirror. Okay, so you have to be patient with me on this one. I need to, sorry, I didn't mean to curse. I need to get to Dex. Where's Dex? Oh, what am I doing? It's funny, this thing supports touch. So, hey, let's just try it this way. Let me use the Movink to control the Samsung, okay? Dex. Yeah, I could just... Samsung Dex. So isn't this funny? I can actually... By the way, this feels good. I don't know if... I know you can't feel it, but this is actually surprisingly responsive, like the way the touch works, right? So it makes me wonder, like, if it has additional uses, actually, the fact that this also works with touch. Okay, now what I want to do, I want to go back to Dex and external display. And now it's set to, you maybe can't see it exactly. It says it's mirror tablet screen. So I'm going to select use screen separately. Let's just see what the effect that will have. This is where I saw choppiness and lag, okay? So I set that, and is it doing it? I don't even know. It's still mirroring. But maybe I need to disconnect, okay? So let's get this out. Let me disconnect. And then now, let me connect again. It's still mirroring. Why is it mirroring? Anyone? Oh, maybe I need to start Dex for this. Okay, that's my, let me click on start Dex. Okay, you see it, right? Now I've got my desktop completely separate from this. Now I'm going to is touch working? Now for some reason touch is not working here. Did I disable it? I must have disabled it. It's working. Okay, great. So let's try. clicking there. I want Infinite Painter. So far, it seems good. Let's clear this layer and let's draw. I'm not seeing the choppiness. I don't know why, but that's fine. That's fine. But it works fine. Like it just works excellently fine, right? So this is another alternative mode for using a pen display with your Android tablet. Now I'm using Samsung DeX, which is its way of handling a separate display. Now, without it, it seems like the Samsung will always mirror, okay? Now, I said there's no choppiness. Again, I'm not sure why there's no choppiness. I'd have to do some more investigation. Maybe it was something in like my HDMI recording device or something. I don't know. But yeah, this works totally fine. And pressure works, you can see. Let me just make sure it is clear to you. That pressure does work. Obviously, you know, it's tracing the pen circle exactly. So this combo works fantastic. For those of you moving fans, this might be a great, I don't have the stand for the Samsung. This might be a great way for you to be mobile because taken together, these are pretty thin, right? So it might be a nice way of having two screens and drawing. I think you should check it out. And I can do more experiments, but you see how this works. So fantastic, Moving 13 worked great. Wacom did a great job here. Now let's try the Huion Canvas 13 Gen 3. Okay, and we're gonna begin exactly like we did before, okay? We're going to do the same set of tests. Let's go here, go to DeX. We're gonna go to, is this what I want? External. I want to start back the way we did, mirror tablet screen. Okay, so we're back to this. So I'm going to unplug it now. Okay. And we're going to do the same exact set of tests we did before. Can you disable the screen moving and use this tablet only? Nick, I think you mean, can I just use the, as if it was an Intuos? Is that what you mean? We can try. We can try. I'm absolutely willing to try these little experiments. Let's do it. Now, the Move Ink doesn't have a feature on itself to disable the screen, but there are ways of getting it done. Okay, so in other words, there's no way for me to like go in here and tell it, hey, don't use the screen. Okay, but it's possible, and I'll show you how that is true in a second. I just need another cable. Where is the other cable? I'm just having. Okay, give me a minute. Let me get the other cable. Yeah, Nick, you got the right idea. That's exactly what the plan is. So let me just find the other cable, which is just a simple USB cable. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back, and the cable was found. So let's try to answer the next question first. So I'm just going to unplug this. Okay. And just to keep it visually simple for all of you, I'm sure you can't see what I'm doing. I just unplugged the Move Ink so it's not plugged into anything. And for a moment, I'm going to unplug the Samsung. So we'll just try it sort of in this case. And this is not a Thunderbolt cable. This is just a normal USB-C cable that provides data and a little bit of power, okay? It will not provide enough power for the Move Ink, and that's deliberate. Not for the screen anyway. So let's, let me, this thing turned off. I didn't mean that to happen. Hello. Okay. Where is Infinite Painter? There we go. Let's. I sometimes. Oops. I want to clear this thing. Okay, we're there. So simple USB-C cable. Let's plug it in. Let's see if we can use this like an Intuos. Okay, and I'm gonna sneeze. Oh. I think it's because I put on cologne. Sometimes I like putting it on. I'm wearing Chanel Egoiste cologne. Not Egoiste Platinum, Chanel Egoiste. Platinum is not as good as the original. Okay. Does it work? Thank you, Camilina, for blessing me. No, it does not, unfortunately. In this configuration, it just does not. Camilina has informed us we can't smell you on a stream. Egoiste is it's a masculine fragrance. It's not too floral. It's not like Michael Kors Michael, which is too, it's very floral, a little too much for me, but it smells nice. So I just thought I'd give you a description of what it smelled, how it smelled. And Egoiste Platinum is just, to me, it's too pedestrian, just not strong enough. Not like strong scent, more like it's boring. It's boring. But I'm sure my tastes are. Seven perfumes coming up. Yeah, okay, so surprisingly it doesn't work. Usually a pen display, if it's getting just a little bit of power, the digitize will still work, okay? So we're gonna try another option here, which is, we're going to see if power is the issue, okay? And I'm gonna go over here, and I'm gonna get power from another thing. And again, we don't want the screen, we just want the tablet to be doing its job as an Intuos. And don't worry, the screen is on. This is actually deliberate. The screen's it says right here, you can't see it, no signal, okay? But I bet you it actually works. See? Yeah, it does work. But it's messed up. I'm drawing a circle, but you're getting this thing. You see what I'm saying? So it's an oval, but I'm drawing a circle, so it's messed up. So I'll try it one more time. So it's got power. I'm going to unplug and plug it in. Yeah. So unfortunately, the Moving 13, you can sort of get it to think of it as a normal non-display tablet, but it doesn't really work the way you need to. So that's a mistake of the Moving. Unfortunately, it's just not the way it's designed to work. Unfortunate. Wacom could have made this work and just made a little more utility out of this device. I still like the Moving, though. I still like the Moving. Okay. That's a good test. Thank you for trying. Actually, there's one more thing we did not do, which is, I'm going to search for it actually on YouTube. I'm going to see if we can find Android turn off external display. So give me a second. External display. Is that possible? Nick's got it right. A $2,005 setup that can draw crooked ovals. That's correct. That's correct. Okay, we're going to try this other way of doing it, okay? Which involves a Thunderbolt cable. This is a good experiment. I'm glad Nick brought it up. And again, I'm connecting it directly to the Samsung because this still might actually work. Okay, let me show you what I'm seeing here. So it's a Thunderbolt cable. Oh, it doesn't get enough power. That's the other problem. Okay, just for the sake of the argument, let's see if I can get enough power here. I still need power. Will this trigger the right behavior? We're going to try to tell the Samsung, don't use the screen here. Okay, so that's the trick. We're going to see if this works. Oh, shoot, I didn't mean to do that. I meant to get like the settings. Settings. Can I turn off external display? How about if I connect, what is it typing? This is so confusing. I can't see fully what I'm typing. And I think the touch is off here. That's making it even more confusing. Let's see. Connected devices. Connected devices. Second screen. I need to turn off DeX, which is its own issue. I don't like this DeX feature. I'm sorry, I'm being harsh when I say it. Let me exit DeX. So now it'll mirror by default. So now we want to go into settings. And then we want to go to connected devices. Second screen. And then we want to say, this is not what I wanted, actually. Cast. No, it doesn't really, there's no way for me to tell it, stop showing something on the screen, unlike Windows. Windows, you can tell an external display, no, just don't use it. But it's not working here, unfortunately. So it was a good test, though. It's a good test. Okay, now we're going to repeat this set of tests with the Huion Canvas 13 Gen 3. So this was a really interesting test. Thank you for suggesting it, Nick. So, where is the Gen 3? Okay, here it is. And do I have a pen to go with it? I do. Canvas 13, Gen 3. I got it in Sakura Pink. I'm just tired of tablets that are black plastic. And let's try the first test, which is plugging it in. Okay, I have to plug it into the lower one. Actually, before I do that, I want to show you something so everyone's clear what the hell is going on here. One of these ports is recessed and one isn't. This will fit any USB-C cable. This is intended for Huion's 3-in-1 cable. Okay, so we have to keep that in mind. I just can't randomly plug in anything into that because not everything fits. Okay, so I'm going to plug this in. Now, the first question is, will the Samsung provide enough power? And not enough. And by the way, this is actually really interesting. Do you see it flash? It turns on just for a second, goes black. If you ever encounter like this, and this is blinking red as well, this flashing behavior where you see it for a second, sometimes it'll be a bit longer and then it'll go black for a couple of seconds. This is very typical for a pen display that's not getting enough power. It's like it's storing up energy and trying to show you something and it just gives up. So let me just unplug this. It's not getting enough power. Now I can't plug in this other cable to give enough power because it just will not physically fit into that. It's not deep enough to fit into that thing, okay? So in this case, I'd have to use either the 3-in-1 cable or I'm gonna use, you know what I'm gonna use. I'm gonna use that dock, okay? So let me show you again so you understand how all this is getting connected. So first is I connect Nick says this is interesting experiments, but realistically, I'm watching 2 tablets, a bunch of cables, and all those fiddles in Android 15. In Android, 15-inch laptop plus Intuos Pro on top of keyboard looks superior to me. I agree with you, Nick. I do agree with you. If you really want to be mobile and want a tablet, probably just a laptop with a tablet, it's a better idea. But some people, I think, in the future will want. I really want Android devices to be more capable, and I'm hoping. Maybe that's just because I don't want to use Windows anymore. Okay, I'm going to plug this in. But you're right, just turn it on and it works, and that's the way it should be. Okay, this thing is now connected to the dock. And now Thunderbolt cable connected to the dock. I really wish it was possible that most of these devices just worked with simple cable connections. Sorry, I'm having trouble connecting. It's connected now. Okay. So, it's relatively clean. 2 cables, each connecting to the dock. And it's mirroring the device, right? Okay, so everything's looking pretty good, actually. Where's my Huion pen? Do I have, here it is. Let's just verify. There's no touch on this tablet. So does this pen work? Is it the right pen? That's not the right pen. This is the right pen. This is a PW600L. Let's just try clicking on something here. Yeah, it actually works, believe it or not. Right? I wish it had touch. Quit Windows to enter what? Nirvana. I don't hate Windows. I just, I think it's very complex for what people need these days. And I really wish, I'm just kind of brainstorming here. I just want an OS that's kind of maybe optimized to some of the things we do. I'm not saying it has to be some specialized thing for artists or anything. More that we're carrying around phones, we're carrying around tablets like this, and most of our lives are now starting to live on these devices. It kind of, to me, makes sense that we would be able to take advantage of all this computing power and paint and draw and do whatever we need to, right? As we plug it into other screens. And Cami Luna says, I would love to quit Windows too. And Windows, it's not really innovating for us. It's getting better every year, but it's also doing things I don't need. I don't need the AI. I don't need the advertisements, and it's not getting better for artists. So, it's so weird. I'm like, what's the future? And I don't know if Windows, the only reason I'm using Windows right now is for gaming, and I code some, and I'm just used to Windows shortcuts, to be honest, right? And I could see myself in a few years being able to switch to Chrome OS, honestly. I really could. But I've just got a lot of apps I need to run. I think all of you understand what I'm trying to get at. Let's take a look at some of these comments. Birdie says, speaking of cables, do we try any screenless tablets with Bluetooth? We will try, Birdie. Thank you for reminding me. I forgot totally about that. And Birdie says, I do kind of resent needing a laptop. My phone, yeah. These things are powerful. These things are actually really powerful. Cami Luna says, I did some testing with the XP Pen Artist Pro 16 Gen 2. Both my Galaxy Tab S10 Plus and Pixel 9a. Pressure works, circles draw fine. No tilt support with X3 or X3 Pro Pen Slim. Interesting. I didn't do any tilt testing, so that's an interesting data point. Windows the same as Democracy. Worst system, but there's nothing better. And I agree with you. As of today, there's nothing better invented. But I think things have evolved, Nick. And I say this as someone who worked on Windows and obviously Microsoft for almost 30 years. I bought a Chromebook about a year or so ago. That really had a big mental impact on me because Chrome OS is not Windows, but for a lot of my tasks, things were just working, okay? Now, what I missed was they don't have the full version of Microsoft Office, which I depend on, right? But in a lot of ways, it was getting what I needed to be done. If I'd had just those apps, things would have worked fine, right? And that doesn't solve all my problems. For example, I use a Mac with a very specific streaming software because I think it does a great job. I can't even find it on Windows. So the apps for me are super important. So I think you're right. There is no better alternative right now. I think just the alternatives are getting better though, right? And Nirvana sounds better than Linux right now. Indeed. Okay, back to this. Let's draw. Oh, I keep touching the tablet and there's no touch. Okay. I did it again. I just reached for it. This is why I think pen display should just have touch in the future. So mirroring works, obviously. Let's see. Pressure. I may not have the right pen. Let me double check. I'm not getting any pressure right now, by the way. Could be me, could be the pen, not sure. Soft pen. Let's try a soft taper. That's not right. I need a pen that actually responds to pressure. I thought I had one, but I'm not getting any pressure right now, which is unusual. Why is that? Am I just picking the wrong pen? The line thickness is because of the rendering of the pen. It's not due to my pressure. Let me get another pen. And I'll also get the Samsung S Pen because it'll help me debug whether the problem is the pen or the tablet or something else, okay? Adam West, thank you for joining us. Does the Tab S10 support Thunderbolt 4? I don't know. Cami Luna, you have the S10, right? Could you comment on that? I'll be right back and we'll continue this. Okay, I'm back, and let us clear this canvas. I got an S Pen with me. This will help me debug any issues. So let me make this brush a bit bigger. So I'm pressing lightly and I'm pressing heavy. Okay, that's the S Pen. That's it. It's the correct brush, and we know its work pressure is enabled on the brush. Is this doing it? No, in fact, it's almost like pressure is stuck at 100%. It could be the pen is broken. Fortunately, I have 5 different PW600 pens here. So let's see if... So something's not working here correctly. This pen is maxing out. It looks like at 100% pressure, so is this one. So could be the tablet. Let me try my tablet tester. This is the first time we found a discrepancy. let's get to, I gotta type up here, don't I? What do I want? I want to say, this is so weird to type this way. Chrome, I guess. Hello, keyboard. I'll do it this way. I swear this is the most confusing thing ever. Okay, let's try doc. Docs. Hang on a second. I have to reach over so much, it's confusing me. Okay. Give me a second. Let me unplug for just a moment. Okay, connecting back in here, and then I'm just trying to get to my document site because I know there's a tablet tester tool here. Let's see, it's tester. I swear to you, I cannot. I have misspelled the word tester 3 straight times. There we go. This is a tool I wrote, which is published on GitHub, and it helps me sort out pressures. So first, let's test with the S Pen. Yeah, okay, because I wrote this code, so I know what it does. And now let's try with this tablet. So something's wrong here. Everyone sees it? I don't think it's the pen, because all of these pens are exhibiting the same exact problem, right? They're all registering at 100% pressure. And you can see it actually, just because you're probably wondering how I know this. There's an actual pressure value here, and I'll zoom in because I know you can't see it. There's an actual pressure value here, and watch what happens when I press it. It goes to 1.000, meaning 1. Even the slightest touch, right? But when I'm drawing with the Samsung, with the S Pen, you see the pressure is like a really small number, right? So you can see the effect. I'm building up all the way to 1, right? This is, again, very useful for me to debug certain issues because if you can get it to work in the browser, then I know like certain kinds of apps work with it, right? And I'm going to add some more features to this. But yeah, this is something I'm really proud I built because like it solves a lot of testing problems for me actually. And I can do things, just so people know, I can, you can't see this, sorry. I'm going to go back here. I can turn off pressure here, and I can say just use tilt. Let me clear this, okay? So now the thickness of the brush will be depending just on tilt, no pressure. So I know, remember, I'm pressing light, but it's thick because I'm tilting the pen. And then as I tilt over, it's thin and then thick again because I'm at the left, right? So this lets me know if tilt actually works, right? So I can debug problems. This looks like a drawing app, it's not. It's just intended to help me see where I'm drawing and how pressure is there. If you have suggestions for a tool like this, just let me know. Right? Okay, so what do we discover here? This doesn't work. This doesn't work. The Canvas 13 Gen 3 does not, you can use it as a pointer, but the pressure will not work. Let's see. Let's see. I did notice the Artist Pro 16 Gen 2, the Clip Studio Paint, won't register. Let's get this comment back there again. Won't register any drawing from the pen unless I change the setting to use finger as a tool. Interesting. I'll have to keep that one in mind, Camilina, because that sounds like a good debugging tip, right? Okay, so we've tried these, and I think we've established that it's kind of a mixed bag whether it works. And someone else wanted me. The Wacom worked, but the Canvas 3 Gen 3 did not. Again, it goes back to you can't say it's always going to work. You got to do specific tablet with specific drawing tablet with specific Android tablet to see if they work. Okay, I think someone wanted me to test something. I'm trying to remember what that was. Wireless. Oh, that's what it was. Wireless. Okay, let me rehydrate. And once I get done with this testing, I can talk about some news updates I have for you, right? There are some interesting news items that have come up. Okay, let me unplug this. And move this away. And so I think the question is, does this work wirelessly? Good question. Let's find some tablets here. And of course, we'll restrict our conversation to those tablets that worked when they were wired, since we have a belief they will work when they're wireless. Okay, these didn't work. Basically, the Wacoms were doing the Wacom and Huion Fuego. So those are the ones we're going to test. Where is the Wacom? Oh, there it is. Okay. Whoops. Tablet swallowing. Okay. Intuos Pro 2017. And, Cami Luna has confirmed the 2025 works wirelessly. She's using it on her travels. Okay, good to know. That's right, you were traveling recently. I forgot about that. Let me try the 2017, because I've actually never done this, so I want to make sure I know how to do this. Let's see. Sorry, you can't see what I'm doing. That's not what I wanted to show you. I think that is not what I want to show you. Yeah, this is what I want to show you. Just wanted to zoom out a little bit. Okay. And now, what do I want to do? I want, actually, I want to turn on wireless, don't I? Is wireless on? Oh, wait a sec. I don't even know how this works anymore. I think I clicked wireless on. There it is. There's a little, you might be able to see a little light there. That's wireless. And let's do it. Let's go to Bluetooth, click on Bluetooth. How do you connect these things? Something's here. Okay, you know what? I just realized I'm not sure how to connect an Intuos Pro 2017 wirelessly. I think I turned on wireless, but I'm not sure how to initiate the process. So let me type into my, you can't see this, like, connect Intuos Pro PTH 660 wireless. I just never done it. Honestly. Connect wirelessly. Press and hold the power Bluetooth button until the blue LED starts to blink slowly. Okay, sure. I'm going to hold it down. It's waiting for a blue LED somewhere. I don't know. Is there a blue LED somewhere? Oh, this light is not the wireless light. It's the ring light thing. Camuluna, it did not come with a dongle. It just has wireless built in. And it's been so long, I literally cannot remember. And I wonder if this sticker is blocking the way. It's possible. Because it is covering something. Oh man, this is stickier than I thought it was going to be. Okay, what the heck is going on here? I don't see any blue light anywhere, and I'm holding it down until the blue light starts to blink slowly. I don't see any blue light anywhere blinking anyhow in any way. Okay, don't know about that. Confusing, so I'm just gonna depower that, and nothing got detected here, so looks like that was a I think there's something else going on. I wouldn't judge this I wouldn't judge that tablet by this. Now with the Intuos Pro 2025, someone asked, there a light on the side? A birdie asks. Let's see. That's a good question. I didn't look. I don't see any light anywhere. I mean, I see this light on the ring, but it's not a blue light. You know what I'm going to do? I just wonder, just for a second, I just wonder if it's a power issue. Meaning, it's not charged up enough. So I'm going to connect it to power without connecting it to a computer. And I'm going to hold the button down again. Top left of the ring. I didn't see anything. Thank you, Camuluna. Did anyone see something a second ago? I could have sworn I saw something flash, but it could have just been me hallucinating. Oh no, that was just one of the lights on the ring. Did you say top left? Okay, let's just let it charge up. I'll leave it plugged in. Now I've got the Intuos Pro 2025. And wireless is different here. There's a button, and it's on 1. It may also require, now there's a wireless, there's supposed to be a button there. I totally forgot. It actually, oh, there we go. There's a blue button, a blue light, sorry. You can see a blink, it is blue. Okay, so let's see if we can connect. Hello? And let me unconnect the Frago, since, I'll unconnect it later. Scan, gotta hit scan. Oh, there we go. Intuos Pro M1. Am I connected? Pairing. Yes, pair. Connected. Okay, it's connected. For reals though, is it connected? Let's see. I've got, where's my Wacom pen? Here we go. And of course, sorry, it's a little bit, shit, hang on. So the yellow, yeah, it's working. Uh-oh, wait a second. You know, I noticed something. Can anyone else see it? Does anyone, I'm gonna keep drawing for a second and I keep clearing. The effect went away. Yeah, the effect went away. For a second, it was like really rough looking. But now it looks it looks smoother. I'm not sure if it feels normal though. The stroke looks, yeah, it looks rougher. Okay, Nick says the indicator LED is on the right side where the Wacom logo is. Okay, we'll check that. Yeah, this is it's not quite wobbling, Camuluna, but it's like instead of having, I don't know, you know, if you draw, it's like 200 points per second. It's like I get fewer points per second, kind of. It's more, not as high resolution. And you can see it I'm sorry, I'm drawing on the wrong thing again. The pressure's not as smooth. It's jumpy. It's a subtle thing. It's a subtle thing. This here, you saw this line. Sorry, I'm so far away from you. Let me zoom in, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Okay. Let me clear it. You know what we can do is we can compare it with the S Pen. Okay. So I'm going to draw with the S Pen on the right. And I'm going to try to draw the same thing with this pen on the left. I'm sorry. Do you see, if I zoom in, oh fuck. I should have done that. I don't know how to zoom this in without drawing. There's just a roughness here. There's a roughness. It's not, again, I wouldn't use the word wobble, but it's, let me try to draw it in another way, okay? Let me try to draw it another way because I want to describe it carefully for you. Normally, it should look like, a stroke should look like this, okay? And I'm going to exaggerate the effect, so don't, be aware of that. It almost looks like this. You're seeing the difference? I'm very much exaggerating the effect, but it looks like a more separated set of points that are being connected. Now, it seems to happen, it happens less here, but this is a very specific drawing app. Like it's designed, I think, to smooth out the stroke. When I'm drawing here, this app is dumb, right? This app is dumb. It is not designed to give you a smooth, beautiful stroke. I gotta clean this up here. How do I unzoom this thing? I should have thought of that, huh? There we go, okay. If I'm drawing fast with the Samsung S Pen, it's pretty smooth, right? Pretty smooth. But if I draw fast here, you should see. You see it? That's what I'm getting at. This app is dumb. It's not meant to try to create nice strokes, but it reveals something to you. Let me do this again with the S Pen so you totally are clear with this. Look how fast I'm drawing. Now, you see some stair stepping. That's a different problem. Look how quickly I'm moving, right? It's overall very smooth. With this thing, I know you can't see my hand, but you get what I'm going. Look at that. You see the little joints? So something's not great there. Something's not great there. I don't know where the problem is. I don't know if it's Bluetooth or it's Android. This means I should test it with Windows. I didn't recall anything like this with Windows, but I'll test. Okay. With Infinite Painter, oh, sorry, you can't see that, of course. It looks good, but that brush is designed to be that way. It's designed to smooth things out, right? That brush is a weird one. It's smoothing in a weird way. So like it's hiding the effect, okay? So that, yes, Voidat, I like your word, segmented. Segmented is right? So that was weird. But it's mysterious. I think I need to do some investigation on the cause. Again, could be Android. It could be the Bluetooth implementation. It could be Wacom. It could be all sorts of things. So it's up in the air where the fault is, okay? Okay, Nick has some data here. On Windows, it is smooth and fine via Bluetooth. Okay. Now, let's unpair this thing. Okay. I'm going to connect it. End it. Okay, so it's no longer connected. Fine. Now, where's my Frago? Every time I say the word Frago, I think of frozen yogurt. Frozen yogurt. Okay, here it is. Huion Frago. Now, it's already connected. So if you don't mind, I'm just going to, I'm just going to reuse the same connection. Bluetooth light is on. So is it connected? It is connected. Now let's try the same test, okay? Same test. So I'm going to go zoom out first and get my Frago pen. Frago uses PW550, so where is that darn pen? PW600, PW5, here we go, okay. Fast strokes. I see a little bit of segmentation. I see a very little bit. It's nothing as that we saw in the Wacom. So something weird is going on, right? Let go my Frago. Frago waffles. I love it. I love it. So this is the Frago, and the Frago does not have that weird segmentation. I'm going to use that word. I forgot who came up with it. Does not have that segmentation. It's a little bit. You see it right here. You see a little bit, but nowhere near as bad as we saw with the Wacom. Nowhere near. Again, I don't want to yell at Wacom too much because it doesn't mean it's necessarily their fault, but that was weird. Look how fast I'm drawing. I don't see, occasionally I see some segmentation, but it's not as bad as the Wacom. Okay, so I wouldn't want to see this, but it's better than what I saw with the Wacom. Okay, that's the data point there. So it's interesting. Interesting. And I don't know if this is common. I'm going to have to try this out with Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra phone and some other things and see if, but it's good to notice that it might happen. It might happen. Okay. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. I think we tested everything. So I think if I had to summarize it again, we got to compare when you're talking about getting an Android tablet and having it work with a drawing tablet, you got to have specific comparisons. And some cases, Wacom does the best job. Huion and actually Pen are sort of, you can't assume they're going to work. The Frago does a decent job. It seems like with Android, there may be an issue with the quality of the strokes, meaning segmentation when wireless. That's another issue that came up. Pen pressure work, I didn't test tilt. I can test it a little bit right now, actually, if I clear this. And I'm not, there's a little use tilt button, you can probably see it, and a tilt number in the upper hand left. Let's go ahead and just see if tilt is registering. So tilt is not registering. Actually, it's registering a little bit, but not a lot. Oh, sorry, it's my mistake, sorry. I need to have the use tilt checkbox here. My mistake, okay. No, tilt is working fine, actually. Tilt is working fine. So all these things have to be tested. And tilt, again, thickness here is being controlled by tilt, not anything else. Tilt's working fine. I think I'm pretty happy. Okay, I think we covered Android. So what I'd like to do now is shift. We can still answer questions, but what I'm going to do now is shift topics. I have some news and updates to share, and then we'll take a little Q&A. We did a lot of Q&A, but in case anyone else has questions, and then after that we can just end the stream. This was a good stream. I'm so happy. Nick, this stream is all because of you, by the way, because you had that question, and I thought I need to spend time answering Nick's question because there's so many pieces to it, and so that's why I felt I needed to do this stream. So thank you for that. Okay, I'm going to show. What am I going to show? I'm going to show OneNote notebook in just a moment. And we'll talk about things, okay? Give me a second because it is a little... There we go. Okay, here we go. So I talked about all these things. I got some news and updates. Okay, so I wanted to just talk about Intuos Pro 2025, okay? 2025, and share a few updates. First of all, I've been keeping track of online sentiment, and I think I'm seeing more and more people maybe have an issue with the edge of that tablet. And when I mean edge, what I mean is the, sorry, I need to get my face out of the way here, so give me a moment. What I mean by edge is the Intuos Pro 2025, when you put your hand, when your hand touches this edge, it's a little, it's not sharp, but it's just a little more of a bump than the Intuos Pro 2017. And I'm seeing more and more people really have a very strong reaction to this edge. Like, forget the reaction to the bezel, that's another topic. People are starting to react to this edge more, so I think that's a careful thing to keep in mind. The second thing is, I've seen people start commenting about the buttons. Okay, now, let me go back to my view here. This is that pen. I'll zoom in. I'm going to, yeah, here we go. These on the right, Intuos, Pro Pen 2. On the left, Pro Pen 3. You can see there are 2 buttons on the Pro Pen 2, 3 buttons Pro Pen 3. Nick Tyler, I'm getting old. Now when I pay money, I want to be sure that thing will work. Yes, exactly. Too many quirks that we've seen today with Android. Yes, that's right. It's disappointing, actually. I actually thought we'd be in a better place, to be quite honest. So Wacom did a great job, but pretty disappointed what we saw with Huion and XP Pen, to be quite honest. So people are complaining about the buttons. And what they're complaining is that these buttons are, the Pro Pen 3 buttons, are harder. They're hard, and I think they're harder in 2 ways. I think the plastic is actually harder. Like, it feels harder. And also, they take more force to click. And some people really don't like it. I like it. But they prefer the Pro Pen 2, which has seeming softer buttons. They don't require as much force to click. And lots of people are trying to complain about it. And in both cases, both with the edge of the tablet and the hardness of the buttons, those are the words they use. For both these cases, there's the same statement is being made, which is like, it hurts their hands. Now again, I don't feel pain in either the buttons or the edge, but some people seem to be having a problem with it. So I'm going to be on the lookout for that, okay? The second thing is the Wacom Cintiq 24 and 24 Touch are shipping now. If we go to Wacom, you can actually see it. And the prices are exactly what we thought they were earlier. And I'll click on Shop Now. Let's take a look at what we got here. So, 1400, 1300, and 700. Now, the 24 and 24 Touch are available. I ordered the 24 Touch yesterday. So, I am hoping that within a week or 2 weeks, I will have that in my hands. Okay? Someone on the Discord said I look like an ice cream man in this outfit. I don't mind. I'll take that. I'll take Ice Cream Man, yeah. So I ordered this, the 24 Touch. I wasn't gonna get the 24 because why? It's just the same thing except it has touch. So I'll get it in a week or 2. We'll see what it's like. I couldn't buy the 16 because it's not available yet. disappointed. I wanted to get them together and live stream them together. So we'll see. If this one comes first, and the 16 is going to take a week or two, then I'll go ahead and just stream with this one, which I don't want to, and I'm going to tell you why. It's really hard to stream with a 24-inch tablet because it just takes up so much space. I can't look at you and speak. If I'm using the tablet, you're going to see the tops of my eyes, okay? So I had to set up a different system. Okay, Camila, she's killing me. Ice cream Yakuza. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. But that's why I wanted to get the 16, because then it's easier for me to demo things with the 16. But nonetheless, we'll see what I can do. I'll probably set up a camera sort of behind my shoulder, so you can see the tablet as I'm demoing and not just see the top, my eyes. Okay. Okay. Next thing is ETA. Yeah, that's when it's going to arrive. I'm expecting it to come in a week or two. Okay, ProPen 3 improvements. So Wacom said that they improved the chip in the ProPen 3, and I could never figure out what in the world they were talking about. Okay, and we did eventually, someone on the Discord track down some article Wacom wrote. Basically, it looks like the chip improvement was they made the chip smaller, because of course the ProPen 3 is much thinner than the ProPen 2, so they had to. So they had to keep the same performance with a smaller chip, and I think that's the new chip. It's not that the chip is any different in terms of behavior. It may be, I didn't notice it, but that was the improvement. So that, I think that clarifies a little bit of a mystery for me. Okay, the next thing is, and we're gonna have to watch this, it's Rebelle. Specifically, Rebelle 8 is gonna come later this year, and I have said that Rebelle has the best brush engine on the planet right now, and they've done something with their oil paints which you got to see to believe. I'm going to try to find it in a second, and once you see it, you'll get it. You'll get it. Let me just bring up YouTube or Twitter or something, and we'll get there. I think you'll be stunned. Okay, let me turn off the music for a second, and I'm gonna just, they have a YouTube short, and we're just gonna listen to it, okay? We're just gonna listen to it, and let's see what happens. Well, I think there are two videos. We'll start with this new one. I think it's hard to believe, honestly, it's hard to believe what you're seeing. So let's take a look. Oops, you can't see a thing. Let me switch the monitor here. Okay, so this is a YouTube short. Let's take a look.
We always compare Rebelle to real paintings, because the reality is the best reference. One thing that haunted me for a long time was the lack of true soft shadows, but this feature was too expensive to compute. Traditionally, this kind of rendering takes minutes, which is too far too slow for fluid painting experience. The first prototype was limited, and we could only see a preview of the shadows and had to wait a few seconds for the result. I wanted only the best, nothing less than real-time shadows would do. So I found a solution and developed 50 times faster algorithm that brings Rebelle satisfying real-time soft shadows, rendering instantly right as you paint. The result is visible immediately. This allows thick impasto to be seen in new way, the real-world way. Rebelle 8 will allow artists to alter the strength of the shadows and their altitude. This gives the precise visual feedback and control over the painting's depth, realism and lighting. We see this as a big leap forward for digital oil painting.
Okay. Okay, so what was that like? I gotta tell you, I was really amazed by that, right? Voidouts has a comment here. I saw it on Instagram, the thick oil. They've got the price though. So I think Rebelle 8 is probably going to be expensive, but Rebelle is not a super expensive app in general. So, and they had a great sale last year, which is like 10% on the app, meaning it was 90% discount. So hopefully they'll do that again. And I think you should try Rebelle 8. And I will definitely get this one. I'm really curious about this shader. Now, God knows what kind of requirements it'll have for your computer to do that. But let's see. Let's see. And, oh, I misspelled the word sale. Okay, so also, Clip Studio is on sale. Clip Studio Paint. And I just want you to know this. Nick, I think they've already had a normal map. I think there's something else going on here. And I think I think it is, so they've already had that. I think they've added something else on top of that to give these night shadows, right? They already had some kind of depth effect because of that, what I think is a normal map. It looks like there's doing something more different here. Don't know what they're doing, so I just really got to see it. And Voidot says, yeah, my laptop probably won't be able to handle the new Rebel algorithm. They said it was difficult to make performant. So, we'll see. We'll see. And yeah, and Philip's also saying, I think it's normal maps. I think they're definitely being used, but I've just never seen anything render like that. The shadows look different than what I've normally seen from normal maps. So I think there's something else on top of that. Okay. So Clip Studio Paint set 60% off. And these are for the perpetual licenses. So you've only got 4 more days, folks. Okay, so let's just make sure everyone's straight on the prices. So this is the, remember, Pro is the super advanced one with multiple pages. You don't, sorry, that's the normal one. X is the super advanced one. So a 1-year license for Mac OS and Windows is $23. It's not bad. It's not bad. Nick says, didn't Corel Painter have it long ago? I think they did have some kind of normal maps, but I don't recall that the strokes looked like this. This looked different. The shadows just look different. And I don't have the right language to describe how nice those shadows look to me. But my knowledge of Corel Painter is also a little bit old. And then for iPad, Android, and Windows, Mac OS, this is the, what's the difference here? This is the perpetual license. Okay, this is the 1 year for single device. So what, 60% off, $10, $11, not bad, not bad. So, I think it's worth looking at this if you've been putting off Clip Studio Paint. They have good sales throughout the year, and this is a great one, right? Let's see. Philip says, there's a way to warp and update normal maps. It's just slightly more complex shader if I were to just guess what's happening. Okay, so you think, okay, it's a more complex shader. See, I'm not familiar with shader stuff. It's all very advanced stuff to me. I just see them, but it just looks good is all I know. Right? And Voidot says he has 6 months of CSP when he bought the S9 FE. And then any other notes? Yeah, one last note, yeah, which is about Android and Chrome. So, just to be clear, I do not recommend getting a Chromebook for using a drawing tablet. Chromebooks, remember the circle oval issue with that we saw was fixed with Android and the Wacom tablets, but was still there for Android and some of these other tablets, non-Wacom tablets. Well, but overall, let's say Android has done something to make things work, and now Huion has figured out with the Frago. Chrome, with all the tablets I've tested, still has that problem. On the other hand, Chrome does know what to do with mapping buttons on your pen, and it knows what to do with keys, meaning buttons on your tablet. So that's a feature Chrome OS has that Android does not. Now, I hear it told, I hear it told that Chrome OS and Android, something's happening to them. I don't think they're merging. Some people say it like that, or Chrome OS is being replaced with Android. I think that's an extreme position. I feel like what's more happening is maybe they're going to be sharing some more code, maybe sharing more libraries, maybe unifying their experience some. For example, I would really like Android to have a Chrome OS desktop mode, which I think works better than Samsung DeX. Nonetheless, what I'm trying to get at here by talking about this is, I'm hoping this, whatever it is, whether it be a merger or a sharing, that we get the best of both worlds, that we get some improved compatibility with Chrome OS and get, you know, the ability to configure the buttons and things with Android. And I think this is not planned or anything, but I'm hoping this at least starts us down the road of Chrome OS and Android being better places for tablets to be. Because I love my Chromebook, and I'd like to be able to use it with tablets. And there are problems with it, with even pen displays, right? Some that are actually kind of hard to explain. I'll do a separate video on them. But I think it's starting down a good path, right? Because I think, I would like to live in a world where it's a little bit lighter OS experience. And I still think Nick is right. As many criticisms as one might have of Windows, if you're a Windows user, it's still better than the alternatives right now, right? I can't go off Windows, but for some uses, I could see myself going off, right? For art stuff, yeah, I could see myself switching off of Windows, absolutely. But for other things, gaming or coding, yeah, I would stick to Windows. Okay, let's see. Okay, I think we've done it for the stream. Okay, so what I want to say is thanks everyone for your engagement and your comments. You all have such a great, again, you keep my energy high with your questions. And I learned a lot myself. I really have a much better understanding now what's working with drawing tablets and Android. As I do, you know, I have a bunch of videos and streams I recorded. I'm going to take the notes here in the chat, and I'll construct a document which we can review. If you're on my Discord, I'll share it. And then after that, I'll create a video that summarizes everything we've learned, okay? So thanks, everybody. I learned a lot. I hope you had fun and learned a few things as well. And again, I'll be streaming soon, okay? So have a great day or night, everybody, and I'll see you all soon, okay? Bye.